They need the Colts to upset the Bills at the Hoosier Dome today. The weather today, overcast right now, the wind chill at 31 degrees, but we have been told that snow flurries are expected, an 80% chance. Hi, everybody. I'm Dan Hicks along with Joe Gibbs. And last week, Marty Schottenheimer called it humiliating. Kansas City's loss to Minnesota. They had a chance to clinch the first round bye. They blew it. So first and foremost on the mind of Schottenheimer, get his team back on the winning track. But really, his job is not quite that simple.
No, it's not, Dan. He needs momentum. He needs a win here today for sure. But also, every snap that Joe Montana takes out there, he's going to be holding his breath on the sideline.
Well, as for Seattle, the Seahawks have played the spoiler role very effectively. They ran through Pittsburgh last week, a surprising running game led by a surprising figure in John Vaughn, a career-high 131 yards.
Well, Seattle ran the ball extremely well last week. Kansas City did not stop the run. I think that could be one of the keys as we start out today.
It's been a big year for the rookie quarterback, Rick Meyer. I don't know if you can call him a rookie anymore, but I guess just as impressive as all of those NFL rookie passing records that he's been piling up, he has been very durable this year.
Yeah, I think, Dan, one of the most impressive things to play 16 games as a rookie out there. It's a tribute to the offensive line and the coaching staff and to Rick Meyer.
Sold out Arrowhead Stadium. Kansas City will receive. John Casey will kick off for the Seahawks. And you saw back deep for the Chiefs, John Stevens, number 21, the first time in his career that he has been in the kickoff return role from the goal line. And Stevens knocked it to 10, and he'll get up to the 14-yard line. He is wrestled out of bounds by James Jefferson of Seattle. There is Joe Montana, just getting the 8th Pro Bowl selection of his illustrious career. Up front for him, John Alt, second straight Pro Bowl appearance for him. Zott and Grunhard will get a test from Cortez Kennedy. And the backfield, Marcus Allen, his 6th Pro Bowl, his first since 1987. He and Anders in the backfield, Burton and Davis the wideouts. Keith Cash will come in for Jonathan Hayes, and Tim Barnett will come out in the 3 wideout set. And the first play from scrimmage is Marcus Allen, and Marcus Allen lost a couple. Defensively for Seattle, up front, Cortez Kennedy making his 3rd straight Pro Bowl. He, along with the veterans Bryant and Nash up front, to attack a lower there as well. Wooden, Stevens, and Murphy are the linebackers, and Eugene Robinson leads the NFL with 9 interceptions and has made his 2nd straight Pro Bowl. They'll bring the rookie Carlton Gray in and Raphael Robinson in the nickel. Montana to throw on the far side, intended for J.J. Burton, incomplete, and that will bring up 3rd down. Dwayne Harper on the coverage of Burton.
You take a look at this route, Dan, on the outside. This is just a fade again, but the difference here, there's a safety playing back behind. Montana has to put that ball perfectly on the spot. You see the safety coming into play. That was a heck of a throw on the sidelines. I tell you, had a shot at that.
Well, Kansas City in a 3rd down and 14 hole. Mentioned the Chiefs losing at Minnesota last week and blowing a chance for a first-round bye. They lost 30-10. Montana just getting rid of it in a hurry, intended for Burton, but Burton never had a chance. It looked like Montana expected him to make a curl route to the far sideline, and Brian Barker will come into punt for Kansas City.
This shows you an example right here, Dan, right off the bat. They're willing to gamble and come with the safety inside. And you see, I tell you, the temperament right now of Seattle is to go after them on the very first play. You can see what they're thinking here. Whereas, I tell you, Joe Montana had a surprise for him there, blitz right off the bat.
Well, Barker kicks from his own goal line, and backpedaling is Kelvin Martin, and he'll bring it out from the 37. And he does not get to midfield, brought down at the 48-yard line, and that's where the Seahawks will begin. 52-yard punt, 9-yard return. Rick Meyer, bidding for Offensive Rookie of the Year honors, has had a fine season, has thrown some interceptions. But up front for him, Roberts, Brills, Donaldson, Hitchcock, and Heck. And Donaldson playing his 200th NFL game. Williams and Vaughn in the backfield. Vaughn getting his 2nd straight start. Chris Warren, the 1,000-yard rusher, out with an abdominal strain. Martin and Blades, the wideouts. Edmonds, the tight end, will bring in Paul Green and Rob Thomas in the 3 wideout set. And the pitch near side to Vaughn, and Vaughn lucky if he gets up to the line of scrimmage. Vaughn with 131 yards last week in his 3rd year out of Michigan. And a flag on the play. Our referee today is Tom White.
Offsides, 97 on the defense. Lined up in the neutral zone, 5 yards, still first down.
And the penalty on the right tackle for Kansas City, Dan Saliamua, so that'll bring him first down and 5. The ball at the Chief 47. Marty Schottenheimer looking for win number 50 as head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs. And here is Vaughn again looking for first down yardage, and he gets it. He's to the Chief 40-yard line. And the Chiefs defensively led by the Pro Bowlers again, Neil Smith and Derek Thomas on the outside. Smith leads the NFL with 15 sacks. Rogers, Simeon, and Martz, the linebackers. It's been a depleted secondary for Kansas City. They've been injured. Charles Mincy starts for Kevin Ross. Jay Taylor for Dale Carter, and they'll bring in the former Jet Eric McMillan in the nickel. 1st and 10. Myers throwing in and out of the hands of the tight end Paul Green at the 29.
I think right off the bat, Seattle comes out and goes with the same game plan they had last week, Dan, where they're trying to run the football with 2 tight ends. In this case, Rick Meyer coming off of that with a little quick play action pass and has a shot there, but just gets the ball up high.
Seattle number 1 in the AFC in rushing, and that was bolstered by last week's 267-yard total against Pittsburgh. That's an AFC high this season. John Vaughn with the 2nd down carry, and he'll get up to the 37-yard line, brought down by Joe Phillips, the left tackle for the Chiefs.
I think one of the stories of this game that when we talked to Tom Flores is that he was concerned about, Dan, everybody being sick. They have 20 different guys on some kind of medication. They were having to move players around. Some of them were sick, trying to get them out of the rooms. For instance, Jeff Graham, they had to try and get him away from Rick Meyer.
They were
so
shuffling.
the starting quarterback doesn't get sick.
Shuffling in the hotel last night. 3rd down and 7. Blades in motion to the far side. Doug Thomas is in the offensive set, and Meyer from the shotgun comes up, and it is almost picked off by number 59, Jaime Fields. Fields had blocked it and almost picked up his first interception. He's a rookie out of Washington, and Marty Schottenheimer loves him.
One of the things that Meyer does very well is move around the pocket. You see him here, Dan, start to scramble. In that case, he did have a receiver. The problem is he didn't get it up high enough, and you can see him. He's really upset here. This is the thing that you're seeing out of Rick Meyer now. More excitement, upset when he doesn't make a play, as opposed to earlier in the year when he was just acting like a rookie, being kind of quiet.
Well, this would be a career-long field goal by John Casey. We saw him make a 60-yarder in warm-ups, and he has it. 55-yard field goal by John Casey has opened up the scoring in the opening moments at Arrowhead. Seattle leads it.
Dan, you made the point. We were watching him here in practice. Matter of fact, we were betting a few bucks on it. This guy, Casey, in that direction, hit a 60-yarder right from the middle of the field, a 60-yard field goal, and it was super strong, and that didn't surprise us any.
Not only was it a career long for John Casey, as you look at Tom Flores,
he likes it.
That is a new team record. Casey had owned the team record of 54 yards, and with that 55-yarder is now 23 of 28 on the year, and he's just 2 off of his own record of field goals in a season. John Stevens from the 2 for Kansas City. Stevens across the 20, and before he's brought down at the 24, it was James Jefferson again making the tackle. Actually, Raphael Robinson making the special teams tackle, and this is Joe Montana. 2 interceptions last week against Minnesota, and very rare, Joe. This is a guy that has thrown only 6 interceptions all year. And we talked to Joe yesterday, and he said, yes, it was perhaps my most dismal performance so far this season. Play action, and it's over the middle to Ernie Thompson. And Thompson is across the 35 for a first down for Kansas City.
Every time you talk to somebody, whether it's Rusty Tillman, the defensive coordinator of Seattle, or some of the players that play against him, as we take a look at this little check down pass here off of play action, is the fact that look at Montana, look downfield, and the thing that he does that is so much better than most quarterbacks, he comes off underneath of those little check downs. Now that was zone coverage. Seattle got deep, so what he did, hey, they took away the deep route, and he just drops it off underneath.
Surprise reception for Thompson, just the 3rd all season. Montana finds some time, dumps it off to the near side to Jonathan Hayes. And Hayes may have picked up another first down for Kansas City. He's across midfield to the Seattle 49. Gain of 14 for Hayes.
Take a look at Montana's reaction on this. Were those 2 great plays in a row by Montana? First of all, checking it off. Now watch this. He's looking to the right, comes all the way back over, and boom. Now how does he find that guy? How does he know he's there?
Vintage Joe Montana. I know you had a chance to take a peek at his playbook yesterday as well, and we'll get more into that. 102 passes in that playbook just for 1 game alone. 1st and 10, and this is Marcus Allen. And Allen has another first down for Kansas City. 3 straight plays, 3 first downs for the Chiefs. Eugene Robinson ran him out of bounds, but not before Marcus Allen picked up 13.
Marcus right here, as you see on the replay, this guy looks fast. Of course, he's well rested. Last week he was upset. He only got 4 carries, he was telling us. Didn't understand what Marty was doing until after the game. Coach Schottenheimer explained, hey, I wanted to rest you a little bit. I tell you, he looked well rested on that. That was a good burst.
He told us he was a little frustrated that Marty hadn't pulled him during the game as he sat on the sidelines with just 4 rushes and 9 yards. This is Hayes' 2nd catch of the game. Spinning, twisting, breaking loose, and he's inside the 20. Another Kansas City first down. 17 yards on that connection from Montana to Hayes. Cortez Kennedy went downfield to make the stop.
In this case, Montana just simply going to a flat route. There was a deeper route by the receiver behind that, but the tight end was the guy to go to, and a heck of a run here spinning off. As you mentioned, Dan, I was surprised as a coach to look at that game plan and see the size of and the numbers of passes that they had in and how big the game plan is. That surprises me to see that this type of offense, they could get all that done in a game.
Impressive drive for Kansas City inside the 20. This is Kimball Anders on the left side trying to turn the corner, and he gets inside the 15. And he's brought down by Eugene Robinson, the leading tackler of the Seattle defensive unit. And Eugene, the 2nd straight season he has made the Pro Bowl. What a season he's had.
We ran into him in the lobby with his wife, and we were talking there, and you know, he's just a class guy going to the Pro Bowl, and every time you talk to his coaches, they say, man, this guy's our quarterback on defense. He makes audibles, makes all the calls, and all the guys on defense say, hey, he is their leader.
2nd down and 5, ball on the 14. Montana pumping once and twice, looking for Willie Davis, and that one is incomplete.
As we were talking to Marty, Coach Schottenheimer, he was saying, hey, what we need is back in momentum. We want to go into the playoffs, and they accomplished something I think that was big for this team this year. Their first division championship, I think, is something that was very important for them, Dan, because there's only been 2 Super Bowl winners ever that won a Super Bowl, didn't win the division. So that was a big step for them. Now they want to get themselves ready to not only just, hey, get in the playoffs, they want to play great when they get in.
7th play of this drive, 3rd and 5. Montana looking for Davis in the end zone. Touchdown. The 7th touchdown of the season for Willie Davis, the leading receiver for Kansas City, and it comes on the 8th play of this 2nd offensive series for Kansas City, and the Chiefs are on top 6-3.
This is really just a crossing route where Montana picks up his receiver crossing all the way across the field, and you see Joe as he gets the touchdown, pretty excited about this. This was a very crisp, sharp drive, their second drive here. Very sharp, all the way down the field, and a touchdown. They did everything they wanted to do there.
And they picked up, I believe it was 4 straight first downs on 4 straight plays. And this is Nick Lowry, and he's got the extra point. So with 8:45 left in the first at Arrowhead Stadium, Kansas City up 7-3.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Smooth Bush Beer and Easy Drinkin' Bush Light, by MCI, by Goodyear #1 in tires, and by Duracell batteries. No other battery lasts longer.
Well, now let's take a look at the natural gas quarterback efficiency ratings. John Elway, the starting quarterback in the Pro Bowl, leads the way. Joe Montana of Kansas City, 87.8 second, and Rick Meyer 13th. But Joe Montana making his 8th Pro Bowl. Now, for the first time, Joe, the fans had a chance to vote in this year's Pro Bowl.
Yeah, and Joe really said he thought that's who gave him the vote, put him over the top, were the fans.
Michael Bates, the speedster from the 3. And he'll get just across the 20 for a return of about 18 yards. And that's where Seattle will set up. He was stopped by Tracy Rogers of Kansas City. The scoring drive for the Chiefs, very impressive. 7 plays, 76 yards. It only took 3 minutes and 20 seconds. And it was capped by the 14-yard strike to Davis.
Joe gave us his comments on playing in the Pro Bowl. He says, I'm not sure I'll play. He doesn't like the idea of getting hit. That's what I always felt as a coach, too. I hated to hear my quarterback was picked for the Pro Bowl because they got a chance to get the hang knocked out of him.
Meyer throwing on first down, and he's got Brian Blades. Blades to the 40 and a first down for Seattle. Brian Blades now just 4 catches away from breaking Steve Largent's single-season receiving record of 79 set back in 1985.
Dan, now that was a great throw. What that took right there for Rick Myers, he had to get that ball up with air, get it over the top of people, and drop it in. That was a heck of a shot. And I tell you, this guy is impressive for a rookie now, I'll tell you. That was a heck of a throw right there. That was a tough throw to make.
Brian Blades, 76 catch of the year. This is John Vaughn, and he'll get stopped up for a big loss. Tracy Simeon was there, as well as Dan Saliamua.
We talked to everybody at Kansas City. One of the things they said, hey, if we can't stop the run, we're not going anywhere on the playoffs. As we take a look at this play, I think they have set their mind to say, hey, today they've got to play great run defense against one of the best run offenses in the league. This will be interesting to see if they can continue to do this and get themselves in the right frame of mind for the playoffs. But that's one of their goals today, Dan.
Well, the Vikings rushed for 205 yards last week. Scotty Graham, the Minnesota running back, racked up 166. Meyer to the air and in and out of the hands of Farrell Edmonds, and Edmonds pops up the football.
I don't think anybody's decided yet. To me, it looked like a fumble. Looks like they're trying to make up their mind down there at conference.
The Chiefs indicating they have the football. Let's listen to Tom White.
Kansas City, first down.
And Kansas City takes over on the fumble from Farrell Edmonds.
Let's take a look. I think he's got it under control. A great hit. As a coach, you love to tell a tackler, put your hat right on the ball. That's what you'd like to do, and that's a classic example right there, just knocking the ball loose. Great form, great hit.
Farrell Edmonds taking the hit from Martin Bayless. And Kansas City now set up at the Seattle 43. 7:09 left in the first quarter. Kansas City leads at 7-3. Montana looking downfield, but just swings it out to Marcus Allen, and Allen has a gain of 5. He's inside the 40. Another vintage Montana setup, looking downfield and then zipping it out in the flat to Allen.
Yeah, if you were talking to a normal quarterback and saying, hey, you don't want to be looking one place and turn and throw another, but watch Joe. He's looking downfield. This is his third option here, and gets that ball off perfectly to Marcus on that little swing route. And instead of, what he's a master at is picking up 5, 6, 7, 8 yards when things are not there downfield. And if you give it to him downfield, he's going to hit it.
Marcus Allen, 32 catches in this, his 6th Pro Bowl season. 2nd and 5. And this is Allen on the ground looking for the first down marker. Needed to get to the 33, just inside of it. Jeff Bryant, the 12-year veteran out of Clemson, made the stop on Allen. And it looks like Antonio Edwards is the injured Seahawk.
One of the things when we were talking about to Marty Schottenheimer yesterday, he said, hey, one of the things, I'm a great football fan. He was watching all those college games and everything, and we met with him early. But I think he's done a good job. Marty's done a good job of selling his team on we've got to come out and play strong here today, and there's certain things we want to accomplish getting ready for the playoffs. Take a look at the double teams that you're going to see during the day. This is a good example right here. Zott and Grunhard from Kansas City double teaming. Look at them double team Cortez Kennedy here. He gets it on running plays and pass plays, Dan, all day long. And we talked to the coaches. He's getting a little frustrated by it. You need some other players along that line to take some heat off him.
Well, there's Antonio Edwards, apparently all right on the sidelines. He was the injured Seahawk. 3rd and short now. Allen has the first down and more. He's inside the 30, down to the 28, brought down by Terry Wooden. Wooden, the second leading tackler on this Seahawk unit, and they have really been hit by injuries.
Yeah, they have injuries and being sick really in this game today. Marcus Allen, as we talked to Marty Schottenheimer, this is where he feels like he's probably at his best. Short yardage and goal line. So you'll see him in all those situations when they're in the playoffs and going hard, like they're going hard right now. I'll tell you, the first part of this game, it's impressive.
Allen with 4 rushes, already his total of last week, and that was Montana looking for Mike Bartram, the 3rd-year free agent out of Marshall. Bartram has not caught a ball all year long.
Look at Montana. He's telling him on the sidelines, hey, the safety came. The safety blitzed him there, and he turned to the sideline and put his hand up and said, hey, he's signaling the safety came after him. And of course, he's been around a long time and knows what to do with the ball when safeties do come. That's what we were talking about. Watch him here as he looks at the sideline. See him? Guy's coming on that side. Rick Myers said that's one of the things he's got to get better at. Joe Montana's been around for a long time. He knows what to do when they come. Get rid of the ball.
2nd and 10 from the 29. Allen. And Allen down to the 22. So Marcus Allen, the workhorse here early for Kansas City, and the Chiefs with just 37 rushing yards last week against Minnesota.
Yeah, I think Marcus may have stung his hand a little bit. He's on the way out, but it looks like Marty may have his mind. He's going to give him the ball some in this game early.
Marcus Allen, no one else on the team has scored a rushing touchdown other than Marcus Allen. Todd McNair is in the backfield now in place of Allen. 3rd down and about 4. And Montana has number 82, Tim Barnett. And Barnett has the Chiefs' first down. Wayne Harper, the left cornerback, brings Barnett down, but not before he moves the chains for the Chiefs.
I think this is an example. Watch the motion right here, and they wind up in a little bunch passing game, and Montana finds the open guy. Good job and a heck of a run here. Good balance by Barnett getting upfield with him. Now, this is one thing Marty Schottenheimer did not want to see right here. He doesn't want to see Joe Montana getting hit like that.
The injury report on Antonio Edwards, a strained back for the left end for Seattle. And this is Kimball Anders on the ground for maybe a couple. Last week, Anders just 1 rush and 4 yards for him, as no one could get anything going on the ground for Kansas City. .342 left in the first quarter. Kansas City with a 7-3 lead over Seattle. 2nd down and 8. The ball at the 12. Montana to the near side has J.J. Burden. And Burden very close to a first down.
These are the routes that can tell you about a quarterback's arm. And I tell you this, Joe Montana, there's nothing wrong with his arm. These quick outs, they have to get there right now. That's just a little turnout route, and that ball has to get there quick. That's a dangerous pass this close to the goal line. because that's one that a receiver, I mean, a DB playing close enough could jump and pick that thing off all the way. Joe has to get there quick. I don't see his arm dropping off, Dan. I really don't. I mean, the guy seems like he's got plenty of arm strength.
Big play here for Kansas City, 3rd and 3. They can pick up a first down if they get to the 9, rather the 4. Montana comes up and simply throws it away. Anders was at the goal line, but Joe Montana clearly throwing it away and setting up Nick Lowry for the field goal attempt. And Lowry already has an extra point today. He came into the game just 4 points from extending his NFL record of 100-point seasons to 11. So this would be his 4th point of the game if he's able to convert this 23-yard chip shot, and this would give him another 100-point season.
This guy's been a machine, hasn't he?
And Lowry, automatic milestone for Nick Lowry, extending his NFL record of 100-point seasons now to 11. And the Chiefs extend their lead. 2:52 left in the first. They lead it 10-3. Well, there is Nick Lowry, his illustrious career, but he's survived 11 cuts by 8 different teams. And Joe, when you were with the Chargers, you were one of the guys that let go Nick Lowry.
Yeah, one of the intelligent decisions we made. Hey, Rolf Bernarska had been sick. We announced we were going to have a tryout on Monday for kickers. And I kid you not, we came to work that Monday, Dan. There were guys kicking balls all over the parking lot. They had them on top of tin cans and everything else. We take Nick out there, and I talked to him right before the game, and he said, yeah, Joe, he says, I hit 3 for 6 against Mike Wood into a stiff wind. You guys kept Mike Wood, who didn't make a 1. I tell you what he did. He's very competitive. He walked across to Wayne Severe, our special teams coach, and says, you're going to be sorry you made this decision.
I guess he proved to be prophetic.
He proved his point. If we'd have got this guy, he'd be kicking. He may be kicking for 20 years.
14 years out of Dartmouth, Nick Lowry, who's emerged as the all-time field goal accuracy leader, just under 80%. But this kickoff headed out of bounds at the 9-yard line, so Seattle will begin from the 35.
Yeah, Nick needs to get that out of his system. That is an awful kick. If somebody's been around, you never want to give the ball up on the 35 right here. I know he's upset about that.
Some of the other scores in this final regular season NFL Sunday, a key score, Buffalo leading Indianapolis 3-0, and we will reiterate, the Chiefs can get a first-round bye with a win today against Seattle and a Buffalo loss at Indianapolis. So we'll be keeping you up to date on that game, and I'm sure Marty Schottenheimer is also watching that score closely as well from the Hoosier Dome. Meyer passing to Brian Blades. Blades with another reception, a gain of 8 yards. So Blades now just 3 catches away from breaking Steve Largent's mark. There was a lot of sentiment here in Seattle, Joe, that Brian Blades should have been one of the Pro Bowl receivers. He did not make the team.
Well, every year when the Pro Bowl comes out, there's a lot of people really upset. And I got to say, sometimes there's some real injustices done. And Michael Bates not making it, we think, is one of them, probably this year. But it does upset a lot of guys.
2nd and 8. This is Vaughn, and Vaughn not finding the holes today, at least early on, as he found last week against the Steelers. Kansas City, 5 Pro Bowlers. Montana for the 8th time, Allen for the 6th time, John Alt, his 2nd straight season, Neil Smith and Derek Thomas. For Smith, another Pro Bowl season, his 3rd straight, and Derek Thomas has now made the Pro Bowl in each of his 5 seasons, and Cortez Kennedy and Eugene Robinson for Seattle. Chris Warren has a chance to make it, and that will be decided when Barry Foster decides if he will or won't play, so it's not official yet. 3rd down and 2 for Seattle, intended for Brian Blades, incomplete. So that will bring out the punting unit and Rick Tootin for Seattle.
Yeah, I think they just got away from Rick Meyer. You see Tom Flores there on the sideline, and I think that's one just got away from him there.
Well, the impressive win for Seattle last week against Pittsburgh. It broke a 4-game losing streak for Tom Flores' club, and Flores would like the chance to get to 7 and 9. Booming punt by Rick Tootin into the end zone. So Kansas City will come out to the 20.
Yeah, we saw Coach Flores on the sideline talking to Rick Meyer. What better way for a young quarterback to come up than to work underneath an ex-quarterback himself, and somebody that's done all the things that Tom Flores has done.
A flag has been thrown back at the 41, so we'll hear from Tom White.
The previous play was the false start, number 81. Therefore, there was no play. We'll redo the down with a 5-yard penalty. Still be 4th down.
And it'll still be a punting situation for Rick Tootin and the Seahawks. Well, there's Michael Bates, and I have to say that it's the Pro Bowl process, Joe, has become a very political one, but I would have to say that Michael Bates being left off as the special teams performer in the Pro Bowl has to be one of the biggest snubs in Pro Bowl history.
Yeah, I think he deserved it, no question. Let me say this, that's going to happen every year because it is subjective. You got the players, the coaches, and now the fans. So there's going to be some upset people when that's over. That process may not be the best.
Bates runs by Danon Hughes, and Hughes across the 40. Excellent return across the 45 to the 46. Andy Heck finally brought the rookie out of Iowa down. So Kansas City, already leading at 10-3, will have excellent field position from the 46, punt of 45, and a return of 30 for Hughes.
Finds a seam, starts upfield. It's a good return. Take that thing north and south, get all the yards you can. I tell you, Kansas City right now has got a good temperament right now in this game. Packed house here. They're trying to make a point, I think, about last week.
77,000 plus here at Arrowhead Stadium. Another sellout. Montana has his man at the 50-yard line. And it is Marcus Allen. And he's just across midfield into Seattle territory.
You want a tough day's work? Watch Cortez Kennedy. Again, a different way of double teaming. This time the line is turning back. You see the guard put his hand on him. And that's deceptive enough for Cortez because he thinks the guard's turning backside, and all of a sudden the center, wham, takes him. That's a great picture, isn't it? Get ready to go to work, Cortez. They're coming after you. There's going to be at least 2 guys coming after you.
He's so competitive. It's really frustrated him this year that he hasn't been able to put up the numbers of last year. Look at Montana just sling it to Marcus Allen, who's close to the first down, but that's another vintage Montana play. If you can't get it over him, sling it underneath.
A little sidearm shot there. We were talking to Joe about their offense, and he said, listen, the reason why it's so important for us to have a great defense here. Let's take a look at this sidearm shot right here. Watch it. Just deal that thing off, man. Just deal it off underneath there, sidearm. But I'd say this. He says we got to be perfect because our offense depends a lot on the short passing game. We got to have a great defense to go with it also.
End of the first quarter at Arrowhead. Kansas City setting the pace.
Let's see what caused that little sidearm throw. What's Cortez Kennedy? He says, hey, the hang with being double teamed, I'm going to loop all the way around on a line stunt. And I tell you what, if I had Montana and I saw that coming at me, I'd get rid of that thing too. Any way I can. Sideways, over the top, behind my back, get rid of that ball. Cortez was coming. He was going to eat a quarterback on that one.
For lunch. Kansas City 3 of 5 on 3rd down conversions. This one 3rd and about a yard. And they'll let the short yardage man, Marcus Allen, get it on a second effort. Perfect example of why Marty Schottenheimer calls Marcus Allen the best short yardage player he has ever seen. 1st and 10, Kansas City. They'll move the chains up to the 37.
I tell you, good job of blocking up front. Look at the fullback lead in and get a little double there. Actually used his hands to pull and hold, I might say. Could have been called. It was more of a tackle on offense. But did you see Marcus get stood up in there and then Dan spin off of that? Great balance and go ahead. I think that's the reason why he has that reputation in short yardage and goal line. Just being a great runner.
Flags on the play. That is stop play.
I think movement by an outside receiver out there. That always used to upset me as a coach. Why is an outside receiver, you get a jump like that, you're looking in at the ball, you shouldn't be outside.
I'll start. Number 88 offense. Moving prior to the snap, 5 yards. Still first down.
The penalty called on J.J. Burden.
And many times it's on a running play. They're not going to block anybody anyway.
Just one of the things that upsets you as a coach, Joe. I really never saw you get too upset on the sidelines at RFK. Very composed individual. Of course, we couldn't hear everything that was happening on the sidelines.
It didn't look like my Ditka, but I was still upset.
First down and long now. Montana has Burden, who just committed the penalty, and Burden close to the first down marker.
This is a heck of a throw again by Montana with arm strength. It takes arm strength. Now watch him make a play action fake, turn back and throw an out route on the sideline. That's a long ways to throw that ball. You got to get it out there quick.
Much different offensive play this week from the Chiefs. Talking with Joe Montana yesterday, he said just really the last 3 weeks we haven't been able to get into a rhythm. Well, second down and 1. This is Todd McNair, and he picks up the first down. First quarter statistics. Anything jump out at you there, Joe?
I think really it's been pretty much all Kansas City. I think they've been very crisp, run the ball some. I know that's been one of the emphasis points. And also I think Montana has been extra sharp. And I think they're crisp. You notice the way they come out of the huddle, are fast the line of scrimmage. I mean, they're going about their business today. They're going to work. Kansas City is right now. They're excited about this game.
They lead it 10-3. This is McNair. McNair along the left side gets it up to the 21. Kansas City has avoided the long losing streaks this season. They have yet to lose twice in a row. They began the season 6-2, but have really been not sliding, but they have not been playing up to par to Marty Schottenheimer's standards. 3-3 before the loss last week at Minnesota.
Now watch Cortez in this case. He's got actually a zone block against him. Look at him come out that and get all the way down the line of scrimmage for a guy that weighs 300 pounds. I mean, that's remarkable.
Montana gets it away.
That's a shuffle pass that time, Dan. I mean, we go from sidearm to shuffling it straight ahead. I mean, he's got them all working today.
All we need is a left-handed pass. That's about all that Joe Montana's been missing as he connects here with Kimball Anders.
Watch him on this. This is a little, hey, this is a little change up here. I mean, he's got everything but his knuckleball going. Watch him just shuffle that thing forward. There's a little, you see him just kind of put that thing underneath and just shoot it forward like that. I mean, what confidence. And what a great job of picking out those first, second, third guys. I mean, that's his strength.
Keith Cash, the tight end, is split to the far side. Montana looking to the right side. And that complete at the 15-yard line. And it's complete to J.J. Burden. And Burden has a first down for Kansas City.
We were talking to Joe Montana, and he says, I said, Joe, do you have a little set package for this on third down, 2, 3, 4, and 5? Just a little pivot route here. Good job of a little pivot against man coverage right there. And he says, no. He says, actually, we have quite a wide range of passes that we can't go with, and we like to either call passes if we think we're going to be getting man coverage or zone. In that case, they got man. It was a good call there. That pivot was good against man. It wouldn't have been against zone.
And Montana burning the first timeout of the half for Kansas City, and we will step aside as well. 11:04 left in the opening half. Kansas City with a 7-point lead. It's been a long time since they've printed up AFC West Division champion t-shirts. The first time that Kansas City has won the AFC West since 1971, and when they won it back in 71, they weren't even playing here at Arrowhead Stadium. They were playing over at Municipal Stadium. So a long time in coming for Chiefs fans, and of course they want more than just a playoff berth.
These two guys right here are excited, you can tell.
All the snow flurries that
are those the same two guys that came down from Green Bay last week?
Yeah, they made the trip. First and 10, Kansas City from the Seattle 15. And this is McNair. And McNair close to another first down. Needed to get to the 5. He's close to that. Eugene Robinson stopped Todd McNair. McNair in his 5th year out of Temple has led the team the last 4 seasons in receptions with 155, but his duty has been diminished, of course, with the arrival of Marcus Allen. And now 2nd down and a long one for Kansas City. And they will keep it on the ground to Anders. Anders close to the 1st down. Rod Stevens made the stop for Seattle.
Well, I think in this case, you'd normally think of seeing Marcus Allen here. I don't know where he may have got nicked or what, but this is the place where he's usually at his best, Dan. I'm going to be surprised if he's not in there. Well, I see him right down there, right next to the coach. He's probably looking, saying, hey.
Well, they're going to measure to see if Kansas City picked up the 1st down. And it appears just about an inch. If I'm Joe Montana, I'm saying, Marcus,
get in here.
Come on in.
If I'm Marty Schottenheimer, I'm going to say, hey, look, Marcus, get in there. And there he goes.
There goes Marcus.
Guess who's going to get the ball? Want to take a bet on this one, Dan?
I think I'll pass, Joe. I've already lost to you on the pregame warm-up field goal kicking. The John Casey sweepstakes.
Marty Schottenheimer, you take a look at old Marty there. One of the things he needed to do, 3 straight times he finished 2nd. He wins the division. And he told us one of the things he gets excited about is the way the community gets excited. Everybody now in Kansas City is just going nuts. We were here at 9 o'clock yesterday morning, and they were lined up getting tickets.
3rd and short, and indeed Allen gets the call, and Allen picks up the 1st down. 1st and goal for Kansas City with 9:50 left in the half. Marcus Allen had a team record string of 7 straight games scoring a touchdown, snapped last week. So he has a chance to get back in the touchdown track.
Those are the best goal line plays to me, Dan. What they used there was a fullback to lead for Marcus and get a block. In other words, he can pick up any kind of penetration. It's not a final play where you just hand it to one back with nobody in front of him.
Well, it's McNair and Thompson in the backfield. Allen out. 1st and goal for Kansas City. And this is McNair for the touchdown. The first touchdown of the season for Todd McNair.
First rushing touchdown for somebody else, isn't it?
Exactly. The first rushing touchdown of the season for somebody other than Marcus Allen. So Marcus Allen was on the sidelines as McNair went in, and Montana celebrated the touchdown.
Yeah, there was no doubt about that when Dan, a good hole up front, and you saw McNair's body lean there. I mean, he was leaning forward, going for it.
Nick Lowry for the extra point, and he's got it. Kansas City with 9:15 left in the half, up by 14.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Mazda. Mazda, it just feels right. By Coors Light, aged ice cold for that pure taste of the Rockies. Reach for the silver bullet, the right beer now. By Northwest Airlines, some people just know how to fly. And by TGI Fridays, where you'll find a wide variety of great food, served in an atmosphere that's great fun. Everyone looks forward to Fridays.
Dan Hicks and Joe Gibbs back at sold-out Arrowhead Stadium and at the Hoosier Dome. 3-3 now, Buffalo and Indianapolis, and with Kansas City in command here. That score will be watched even more closely by Marty Schottenheimer. Remember, they can clinch a first-round bye with a win today and a Buffalo loss at Indianapolis.
Yeah, I tell you, we were talking to Marty, and he says the other thing he told his team, you can kind of get to what he's trying to get across to him. He says, I think 10-6 is mediocre to him. He wanted to be 11-5. He told me.
The Chiefs also looking for the best ever record in the AFC West, a chance to go 7-1. Michael Bates gets it across the 25 for Seattle. And coming up next on most of these NBC stations, game 2 of our NFL doubleheader. Most of you will see the Broncos take on the Raiders, and the playoff situation there. The Raiders make the playoffs if the Steelers lose to Cleveland, but if the Steelers win, the Raiders must beat Denver to make the playoffs. And some of you will also see the Bengals take on the Saints. Others will see the Chargers and Buccaneers. Check your local listings for the game and time in your area. 1st and 10 for Seattle from the 26. To the air on 1st down, Farrell Edmonds, and he is caught for a loss. Tracy Rogers, the left linebacker, put the hit on Big Farrell Edmonds.
This is a little delayed screen back to the tight end where the quarterback will actually fake the pitch on this. As we take a look, we can fake the pitch and then follow the back. He's trying to draw everybody over. The tight end slips underneath him. What you'd like him to go slide over there unnoticed. In this case, very alert by Kansas City, a linebacker right on him for a loss. Any kind of screen like that is either can be big plays or it can be losses if you hit the wrong coverage.
Loss of 1, 2nd and 11. And this is John L. Williams, but I believe one of the Kansas City defensive linemen moved prematurely, so we could be seeing the encroachment penalty here from Tom White, and indeed we do.
This is the same offensive set that Seattle used last week to get their runs with. They're in 2 tight ends out here with 2 flankers and trying to run the ball.
Number 90, defense, 5 yards, still 2nd down.
So they will take the penalty.
One of the few mistakes so far by Kansas City.
And the ball squarely at the 30-yard line. John Vaughn, and Vaughn snapped back at the 30. Vaughn, the former Patriot, acquired in a trade with New England in August for the number 6 pick, and Vaughn is down on the turf. And we mentioned at the outset that Chris Warren, the 1,000-yard rusher, he's got 2 straight 1,000-yard seasons for Tom Flores, out of this game, inactive with an abdominal strain. And let's see again if Vaughn gets...
Yeah, you can't go that was an awful position to get caught in and then jerk back on the AstroTurf. Now that's one place that AstroTurf can cause more injuries, Dan. When you get trapped like that, your foot trapped underneath you, you can't get out from underneath it.
We'll check on the condition of Vaughn when we come back. Well, the good news for John Vaughn is he has made his way onto the Seattle sideline, but it appeared that he did injure that knee, but he's all right.
Yeah, this is kind of scary as you take a look at it, as he gets his foot caught on AstroTurf. We were visiting with him yesterday, had a good visit. His mother and his high school chemistry teachers here. That would have been scary. I'm glad he's up and okay. 3rd
down and 5. A flag is thrown as Meyer is brought down at the 26. Martin Bayless, the strong safety, coming in to make the tackle on Meyer.
We have a flag here. I think it's the reason why Rick's out here looking around saying, hey, who is it against? And it looks like it's going to be against Seattle.
Well, you had a chance to talk with Rick Meyer before the game, Joe, and Meyer doing a little lobbying for Notre Dame for the national championship.
5 yards. Yeah. False start. Number 73. Prior to the snap, there's still 3rd down. Please reset the stadium clock to 7-4-0.
Here you see Rick again. This is actually a coverage sack, Dan, where there's nothing to throw to downfield, and he's having to scramble on that. Yeah, I asked him, I says, what do you think about Notre Dame? He says, well, I'll tell you one thing, we deserve at least half of it.
Oh, yeah. No biased opinion there at all, huh?
No, he wasn't.
Well, the penalty was on Ray Roberts, so that will bring up 3rd down and long. Chiefs lead at 17-3. Meyer again flush from the pocket. Gets out of the grasp of Darren Mickle and gets rid of the ball. A flag is thrown at the 9-yard line.
The question there, Dan, was he outside the tackle? Or if that's the case, he's allowed to throw that ball away.
Derek Thomas was pressuring Rick Meyer. And now a large-scale gathering is now occurring at the 9-yard line, and we'll listen to Tom White to see if perhaps Meyer was outside the tight end. If you are outside of the tight ends, you can throw it close or near the line of scrimmage and not get called for intentional ground.
I think he's clearly outside here and did a good job even switching that ball to his left hand.
Meyer,
intentional grounding. Since the ball spotted a pass was more than 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage, the ball will be placed at that spot Loss of down. 4th down.
So 4th down and 26. And Rick Tootin will come in to kick to Danon Hughes, who stands back at the 47. All sorts of players hailing from the schools involved in yesterday's big bowl matchups. Tootin of Florida State. Grad gets his kick blocked, and the Chiefs have recovered for the touchdown. It appeared that Albert Lewis blocked it and recovered it.
I'd say this, Albert Lewis is probably one of the best block men in this league. When we played against him, we used to try and double him if we could. I don't know how many of those he's got. A heck of a job. He just took it right off Tootin's foot.
That is the 11th career blocked punt by Albert Lewis. And not only does he block Tootin's punt, he turns it into a touchdown. And Kansas City now up 23-3.
I think it shows you their attitude, too, going for a punt block like this in this game instead of saving that for a player.
Nick Lowry with the extra point. 7:17 left in the half. Kansas City in command.
You don't know what this is? This is a plate that was in Albert Lewis's forearm. He just blocked the punt out on the field. And look at this, how this is bent. He got hit a while back and actually bent that in camp. Can you imagine that? You can go down to the hardware store and pick up some stuff like that. That was in his forearm. You know about a tough guy. And there has just blocked his 11th punt.
And it's giving Kansas City a big lead. Michael Bates is across the 25 for Seattle on the return. Let's take our first visit to our NFL Live studios and join Jim Lapley.
Up in the Massachusetts Bay Colony, the call is 1 if by land, 2 if by sea, and 7 if it's by air from Drew Bledsoe to Ben Coates. A touchdown from 11 yards out that gives New England a 10-0 lead over Miami, which badly needs a win. Back to your game.
So an excellent stretch run to the end of the season for Bill Parcells and the Patriots here at Arrowhead. Kansas City up 24-3. This is John L. Williams, and we'll tell you that John Vaughn, the injury report on the Seahawk running back, a hyperextended knee, and he may return.
Dan, what do you think? Albert Lewis, do you think that would qualify him for an Iron Mike? The fact that I think Ditka would love this guy, man. He's playing with a plate in his arm and everything else. And there's his plate that was actually bent.
He didn't
What
play.
do you think, Mike? He ought to be on the team. He ought to be on Iron Mike's team.
Didn't play his first 2 games because of a broken forearm. He missed 7 games last year when he originally broke it. The plate was bent, and so they changed plates. And this is John L. Williams, who now getting the bulk of the carries for Seattle. Chris Warren out and John Vaughn out as we take a look at some of the other scores around this final regular season NFL Sunday. The Cardinals, Joe, and your old cohort Joe Bugle having an outstanding, not an outstanding season, but a lot of people believe that they're playing like a playoff team now. It's just come a little bit too late.
I was talking to Tom Flores, and he said, hey, I'm going to tell you, he looked across, he says, that's one of the most disappointing losses we've had, but he says, I'm going to tell you something, Phoenix is a good football club, and it looks like they're going to give Joe a chance there, and they're playing extremely well right now towards the end of the year.
And Seattle just that short of the first down. But it was an excellent gain for Williams. That'll bring up 3rd down and short.
Tom was saying that was one of the most disappointing losses they had because he kind of knocked them out of everything, and he said it really is probably the toughest loss he said since I came back to coaching the second time.
Seattle lost in overtime 30-27 to the Cardinals, trying to end their season with 2 straight wins. 3rd and short. John L. Williams apparently picks up the first down, but a flag is dropped on the Kansas City side of the ball.
False start. Right guard moving prior to the snap. Still 3rd down.
So it'll bring up now 3rd down and 6.
Let's take a look and see if our right guard moves a little bit here. All it takes is any kind of a false start or a jump. I tell you, that was very close.
Bill Hitchcock,
Very close.
the right guard for Seattle, number 76. And now, instead of 3rd down and about a foot, it's 3rd down and 6. And another flag as Kansas City appeared to be offsides. Myers' pass incomplete.
You don't like to see Rick like this continually run like this. If I'm the quarterback coach, but I don't think it's really his fault. There's nothing for him to work. I mean, you don't like this on offense to see a quarterback scrambling around like this over and over again.
And indeed, Kansas City offsides. Well, Rick Meyer.
Offsides, number 90, 5 yards, 3rd down.
It is Neil Smith who's offside, but Rick Meyer really is a natural runner, but more so than a lot of quarterbacks around the league, he has been forced to run, not only because he's been a rookie, but the offensive line earlier in the season wasn't as steady as they've turned into now down late in the season. He came into the ball game with 313 yards rushing. The second leading rusher on the Seahawks team. 3rd and short, and Seattle does not get the 1st down. Tracy Rogers and a host of Chiefs putting the wraps on John L. Williams.
You see Tom upset there. And you take a look at this replay, you can see that actually what Kansas City did is covered both guards and the center there. They had everybody up on the run and did a good job of getting penetration. There's no place to go. It was a good job by Kansas City, and Seattle didn't take anybody off the ball there. 3rd down and short. Can Albert Lewis get another punt block? What do you think, Dave?
We will see.
No,
I don't think so. Rick Tootin's punt, excellent one, and Danon Hughes back to the 15, and an excellent special teams play made by number 86, Rob Thomas. 48-yard punt, -3 on the return by Hughes. So coming up at halftime, the Domino's Pizza NFL Live halftime report. Jim Lampley and Will McDonough around your all-time favorites. Mike Ditka, Joe.
Mike Ditka. Iron Mike Awards are coming up also.
We're all waiting anxiously for the first annual Iron Mike Awards. And Thomas, who just made the excellent special teams play, a bit shaken up. Joe Montana just throwing it away.
Yeah, I understand that Iron Mike has already passed them out. We weren't privy to that information here, but it'd be interesting to see who was on it and who made it. I can't wait to get that information.
Well, the Seattle Seahawks have not been successful at all in Arrowhead Stadium. They have lost 10 of their last 11 visits here, and Tom Flores 0-3 against the Chiefs as the head coach of Seattle. 2nd down and 10. This is Todd McNair, who had the 3-yard touchdown earlier, which gave the Chiefs a 17-3 lead. Albert Lewis then blocked a punt, the 11th block punt of his career, and fell on it for his first career touchdown. And that has made the score 24-3. And there were many in the Kansas City area, Joe, that thought that Albert Lewis, who has already been to the Pro Bowl 4 times, should have been included this year.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question that was the sentiment here. Around the league, that guy is considered one of the premier defenders.
Well, more flags have been thrown.
Hey, the ball, our guy went forward. That is not a foul on the offense.
It was amazing to me when you consider what Pittsburgh had on the line last week with Seattle. Considering we talk about them, well, what chance do they have here, you know, against Kansas City? They've got nothing on the line. Hey, they didn't have anything on the line last week, and took Pittsburgh, who had everything going for themselves. Seattle did a great job of it.
Number 89, moving prior to the snap. It's 5 yards, and we have warned the defense. If this happens again in the course of the game, the penalty will be on the defense.
Well, they've warned the defense as Keith Cash picks up the penalty for Kansas City.
Marty was upset. A member of the competition committee may pass a rule against that or something. He was upset. Look at him. He's still going.
3rd down and 13 for the Chiefs. And Montana has the receptions. Willie Davis with an excellent reception to the near side picks up the 1st down for Kansas City with 3:47 left.
Now what happens here is Montana gets out of the pocket, and I'm going to show you what a great job Willie Davis does here. Watch him. He doesn't just sit here. Watch him start back to the quarterback, back down the sideline, and give Montana a chance to get that ball to him on the sideline. If he sits there on that route, there would have been no chance because it was a late developing play, but he did a good job of working back to the quarterback, back down the sideline.
Well, there's this development from the Hoosier Dome. Buffalo has gone out in front of the Colts 10-3 on a Thurman Thomas run. 1st and 10 for Montana, and open is Willie Davis for another Kansas City 1st down. Gain of 24 from Montana to Davis. Dwayne Harper, the left cornerback for Seattle, made the stop.
We'll take a look at Montana on the out route here. Good job. Back set. Now that is good timing. That's very hard to sack a quarterback. When you get back 7 steps like that, boom, hit, and get rid of the ball. And take a look at the route downfield. It's just a corner route from the inside position by his receiver with an outside receiver clearing it out. But that kind of timing is hard to get pressure on the quarterback.
Davis already with a touchdown pass today, has 3 receptions. This is Todd McNair with a big opening for another Kansas City 1st down. He is up to the Seattle 37. Eugene Robinson finally stopped him.
Take a look at Eugene, one of the, as we talk about the quarterback for the defense on Seattle. You take a look, a big hole up front. Really, Seattle's not playing good run defense right now, Dan. They're kind of giving it up right here from a run standpoint in the 1st half. Seattle's going to do a poor job of
Montana laying it up for Davis, and it is picked off. Making the interception was Patrick Hunter. And that is the 4th interception on the season for Hunter in his 8th year out of Nevada.
I think Joe gets his thing. It's a good play defensively by Seattle. The cornerback turning, getting and playing the ball. He played it perfectly. He played it just the way it would have been if he was a receiver. And Joe's upset. He knows he didn't get enough on that.
Montana had the 2 interceptions last week, and now has thrown 1 in this game, bringing his total to 7 for the season. And Seattle has stopped Kansas City, which was really on the move, and now has the ball 1st and 10 from the 20 as we approach the 2-minute warning. John Vaughn has returned to the Seattle lineup as Meyer hits Blades for 5 or 6 yards. So Blades closing in on Steve Largent's record. And we have hit the 2-minute warning from Arrowhead. Kansas City up 24-3.
That means hammer time again.
Back at Arrowhead, Kansas City with a commanding 24-3 lead over Seattle. Dan Hicks with Joe Gibbs. And one of the things we talked about on the outset was how long will Marty Schottenheimer go with Joe Montana, who's been a little bit fragile this season with a big lead today.
Well, I think the other thing is you got Dave Craig, who is a very, very good backup veteran quarterback. I think Marty's going to be looking to get him out of there at some point when he thinks I got this thing iced. By the way, Joe's been very sharp in this 1st half. The whole team has, but this is good for them. This is getting ready for the playoffs. This has been a great 1st half.
And he'll also, Marty Schottenheimer, be keeping an eye on the score at the Hoosier Dome. Last check, Buffalo was up 10-3. Kansas City win, coupled with a Colts upset of the Bills, gets the Chiefs the 1st round bye. Second down and 3 for Seattle. They trail it 24-3. Myers pass deflected at the line of scrimmage. That'll bring up 3rd down. As we continue to roll through some of the other scores, Dallas and New York in a huge game. The Cowboys getting the job done in the Meadowlands. The NFC Central title up for grabs in Pontiac. The Lions and Packers tied in the 2nd quarter.
I heard a report from the Giants, and it didn't sound like the Giants stadium. They said no wind, and they said it was a big break for Dallas in that one.
Well, the Patriots continuing to lead Miami. What has happened to the Dolphins season? 3rd down and 3. Meyer over to the middle to Brian Blades, and Blades across midfield. He had one man to beat. It was Charles Mincy, but Blades with a huge gain and a Seattle first down deep into Chief territory.
Well, that was a good job by Rick Meyer, a little bit like Joe Montana in this case, taking a page out of Joe's book here. Rick just dropped it off underneath with a big run.
33-yard gain for Blades, and now he has tied Steve Largent's single-season receiving record and needs just one to break it. Reception number 79 for Blades. 1st and 10. Seahawks from the Chiefs 40. John L. Williams. Williams breaking into the clear inside the 20. Will they catch him? They do, but Williams inside the 5, down to the 3. Jay Taylor finally caught up with John L., but not before a gain of 38 for the veteran out of Florida.
A good job up front. A little bit of a surprise here in the 2-minute at this point in the game, and to hand that thing off to John L. I think it surprised Kansas City, a big hole up front, all the way down to the 2-yard line. And Rick Meyer looked over to the sideline, and coach said, "Hey, give me a timeout."
Well, it was John L. who picked up 86 yards last week. That was his biggest total in more than 2 years. He had a season-high 14 rushes, and after the game, John L. Williams said, "Hey, a lot of people thought I had lost a step, but that was just because I hadn't been given the opportunity with Chris Warren getting the bulk of the carries."
This guy's had a long career. He can block. He was a great blocker in college. He's got good hands. He's a pass receiver, and I think he's probably right, Dan. He doesn't get many opportunities. When he does, he likes running with the football also. He told us in our last meeting, he said, I definitely like running and catching better than I do blocking. He's been around a long time now. He's learned that.
Well, this year he set a club record with his sixth straight 50-plus catch season. Seattle, though, with touchdown on its mind here. 1st and goal. Williams and John Vaughn in the backfield. And the pitch to Vaughn. And Vaughn is stacked up at the 2. Neil Smith, along with Tracy Simeon, meeting Vaughn for no gain.
Anytime you go outside, pitch the ball and go outside on a goal line, I think you always run a risk of a loss because you can get a lot of penetration out there. Your best plays, I think, are off tackle at the tight end position with a lead by a fullback. When you pitch that ball, a lot of things can happen. Sometimes it's worth a gamble. Some confusion here, and I think Rick did the right thing. He took the timeout here.
Seattle calls a timeout with an even minute left here in the first half. And we'll remind you that the score from Indianapolis, Buffalo 10, the Colts 3. It remains a 7-point advantage for the Bills.
As we look at Rick Meyer on the sideline there, I was talking to him before the game, and I said, Rick, you know, what's your plans in the offseason? He said, hey, I'm going to live in Seattle. I'm going to be there. And we were talking to Larry Kennan. He says, I can't wait, the offensive coordinator says, I can't wait to really work with Rick the whole offseason. Rick's dad was a football coach. He loves to study. When we talked to Larry about him, and he says, hey, I think he's going to make a quantum leap now in the offseason when we have a chance to go through the whole offseason with him.
2nd down and goal. Vaughn is on the sidelines. Tracy Johnson is in the backfield along with John L. Williams. The fake to Williams. Meyer in trouble. Avoids one Chief. Dumps it over the goal line for the touchdown.
Now that's a heck of a play there by Rick Meyer. That's what he can give you, scrambling out of the pocket. He's done it a number of times today and didn't have anybody to work. That time at the last second, he made a heck of a play there. And you see Tom Flory say, it wasn't exactly the way we drew it up, but that was a heck of a play here.
Tracy Johnson out of the backfield, the play action. Meyer buying the time, escaping the clutches of Neil Smith. And getting it to Tracy Johnson for his first touchdown of the season.
That was a great individual play. That was not a design. That was a great athlete making a great play.
John Casey for the point after. And he's got it. So the Seahawks score late in the first half. It had the look of a blowout, but Seattle has pulled within 24-10 with 52 seconds left. And we'll remind you, coming up at halftime, back in our Domino's Pizza NFL Live studios, Jim Lampley, Mike Ditka, and Will McDonough will run down all the scores and highlights of this final regular season Sunday.
I tell you, Dan, one of the things we talked about Rick Meyer staying here in the offseason, boy, I tell you, I had a firm belief when I was the coach of the Redskins that everybody ought to live in the town where they're playing. Hey, you're paid a lot of money. You need to be there, particularly the quarterbacks. And I tell you what, I think every player ought to live in that town and work there. You develop your camaraderie there.
As we look at some of the scores, no change at the Pontiac Silverdome. The Packers and Lions tied at 10. And Miami within 3, 10-7 of New England. That game at halftime. And there is the Buffalo-Indianapolis score at halftime. Buffalo with just a 7-point lead, so you can bet Marty Schottenheimer will be on the phone at halftime with this game not exactly in hand yet, but if Kansas City able to hold on and the Colts get the upset win, then they get the first round bye.
Talking to Joe there, Marty, I'm sure, like you said, I saw him and Carl Peterson right before the game. They were in a little conference in there, and I think they were talking about this scenario for today. And like you said, he's going to be very interested in what that score is. He's going to be following that all day.
High hanging punt by Casey. That's his specialty. John Stevens has to run up all the way to the 20-yard line to make the catch.
That is a nightmare. When you get a guy like Casey who can kick that thing that high, every now and then deceptively getting it that high and dropping it down, your coverage team is right there with the ball. And so I think that was a smart play. Hey, just really protect the ball here in that situation.
Casey, one of the best in the NFL at that. In fact, Marty Schottenheimer pointed that out yesterday when we met with him. And Kansas City has been having a lot of problems on special teams this year. And there is Marty's brother, the special teams coach.
Wonder how that works. Your brother telling you, hey, that's an interesting situation.
Kurt Schottenheimer. This is Todd McNair, and McNair has the first down for Kansas City. McNair across the 35 at the 36. Raphael Robinson ran him out of bounds. Gain of 16 for McNair.
It's a good job. That was a screen. He got behind his blockers. He also was smart there and using the sidelines and stepped out. And watch him step up underneath like he's pass protected. See him being an actor and then slide out underneath. And look at his lineman out front. What a great picture this is. Look, you got 200, 300-pound wide bodies in front of you, and then he used them and then slid right on out of bounds. A heck of a play and a good call in long yard situations, that screen.
38 seconds left for Kansas City. Montana to the air again, and it is complete. 89, Keith Cash. Another first down for Kansas City. Raphael Robinson again on the stop, but the clock is stopped with 31 seconds left. So I don't think Joe Montana, the Chiefs, are just happy to go into the locker room with a 24-10 lead. They want to extend it.
This is an example of getting a receiver wide open in zone coverages right in the middle. In that case, they're thinking sideline, Seattle was, in a 2-minute drill like that. And one of the areas that many times is left open is the middle of the field.
The numbers for Montana had the interception, and now the 14-yard touchdown pass was to Willie Davis.
We saw a great 2-minute drive by Rick Meyer, and now we're seeing Joe Montana come back and move the ball, trying to at least get in position here for a field goal for Nick Lowry.
Well, the last time the Chiefs lost at home to end the regular season was in 1974, a very successful franchise in the last month of the season as well. In Marty Schottenheimer's era, 22-9-1. as we remind you to stay tuned for the Domino's NFL Live halftime report. Montana buying time, running out, and he will not quite get to the line of scrimmage. Tyrone Rogers may get credit for the sack.
I think Marty's heart started pounding right there.
2nd and 9. Montana's pass intended for Burden incomplete as the clock stops at 10 seconds. And that'll be one of the issues Marty will have to deal with in the second half. How long do you go with Joe Montana? And listening to the NFL Live report that you did along with Mike Ditka, your opinion differed with Mike Ditka. You said that you might want to take out Joe Montana. Mike says, hey, go with him the whole way, get the win.
I think Mike and I might differ quite a bit, to tell you the truth. Mike is, he's going to put it, I'll tell you the truth, this makes me really nervous as a coach. If I'm Marty over there, I don't like him taking these hits.
3rd down, Montana has his man. And they stop the clock with 3 seconds left. And emerging with the ball, J.J. Burden. Dean Wells, the rookie, put the stop on Burden, but not before he gets down to the Seahawk 30.
This is a slant route, a quick slant route, just a 3-step drop by Montana and firing a slant versus that zone coverage. You normally don't think of that because you're putting the ball in the middle of the field. But watch Joe how smart he is. Watch him go forward now. Look him right in front of the ref. Timeout, timeout. He's actually moving forward saying, hey, knowing that he's got to get that thing called because they're in the middle of the field.
Well, nobody runs the quick hurry-up offense and more successfully than Joe Montana. As you look at Nick Lowry warming up, definitely within his range. And here comes Lowry with 3 seconds left. Montana has led 27 fourth-quarter comebacks in his career and has now put Lowry in position to attempt a 47-yard field goal. Lowry has already made a 52-yarder this season and has a career long of 58. That was set 8 years ago. Brian Barker, the holder. And Lowry gets a lot of foot into this one, and it is good. And that is the final play of the first half. Nick Lowry's 23rd field goal of the season has given the Chiefs a 27-10 lead.
I tell you, a lot of games are won in this period right here, right before half, where you get a big emotional lift. That's what that was. They answered the touchdown with a big field goal.
So the Chiefs will have the 17-point lead over Kansas City, and we will see if Marty Schottenheimer continues to go with the veterans, Joe Montana and Marcus Allen. That will be something to look for here at Arrowhead when Joe and I come back. But now let's step aside our NFL Live Domino's Pizza halftime report and send it back to Jim Lampley.
This is the Domino's Pizza NFL Live halftime report, brought to you by Domino's Pizza, where you always get great pizza plus something for nothing.
Good afternoon again. We welcome those of you who are watching the games in Three Rivers and in Arrowhead Stadium. Let's turn our attention to other events in the NFL, early starting in the Giants Stadium in the Meadowlands, where the Cowboys and the Giants are playing for home field advantage throughout the NFC playoffs and the NFC East championships. And so far, it's been all Dallas. 13-0 over the Giants. Emmitt Smith, 109 yards rushing. They've controlled the ball and done everything else well.
They've done it all, really, and I think that was Dan's big concern coming into the game, how well his defense would hold up if he could shut down their running game. The big concern I see that Dan has, one of his strengths all year has been his offensive line. They are not protecting Sims at all. He has no time to throw. Dallas' rush is unbelievable, and I didn't think Dallas had that good a rush without Haley healthy. So they're proving something to me that I hadn't seen all year.
Meanwhile, here's a ray of hope for the Giants, Mike. We just got word that Emmitt Smith, who missed a couple of plays in the first half with a bruised shoulder, did not return to the field with the team for the second half. So maybe he's out.
Pretty good shot.
All right. Meanwhile, another big NFC game, the winner of which will win the NFC Central Division Championship and host a playoff game, the Packers and the Lions are knotted up 10-10 at halftime in the Silverdome. Sterling Sharp has gone past 108. He's got 109 catches now, breaking his own single-season receiving record. In New England, the Patriots started off as though they were going to steamroll the Dolphins. They now lead 10-7 at halftime after going 0 for December. Don Shula needs a win or a tie to secure a spot in the playoffs. Opening drive, Miami in Patriot territory, going for it on 4th and 1, but Mark Hicks is stuffed for a loss by Todd Collins. Dan Marino can only watch helplessly, chillily, from the sideline. Second quarter, 3-0 Patriots. Drew Bledsoe on 3rd and goal from the 11. It's a wide-open Ben Coates who gets into the end zone for the 7th touchdown catch of the year for him. Patriots led 10-0. Finally, though, the Dolphins come back down the field with Mitchell. Mark Hicks takes it outside, turns it up for a 5-yard Dolphin TD. Patriot lead is cut to 10-7 at that point. That's the way it stands at halftime with the Dolphins in a desperate situation, Mike.
Well, I'd say desperate is a very nice word to use because they started out this season so great. Marino quarterback, they had a couple injuries. They looked like they were going to overcome the quarterback injury. And right now, the thing that hasn't performed, they have not been able to overcome the defensive backfield injuries. But they're in this game. All they got to do is score another touchdown or two. And I don't know if they, and they can probably stay ahead of the Patriots in this one. But if they don't win this one, boy, it's going to be a very disappointing season for Don and the rest of that football team.
And the team that went by the Dolphins in the AFC East a few weeks ago, Buffalo, playing for home field advantage in the Hoosier Dome and leading the Colts 10-3 at halftime in that game. Early on, Marv Levy and the Bills watched the Colts take the football down near the goal line, but Thurman Thomas returned the favor, fumbling at the Indy 5-yard line. Jason Belzer recovering in the end zone for Indianapolis, so touchback after Buffalo had threatened to score. Colts go all the way back down the field, and they do the same thing. As Rodney Culver coughs it up at the goal line, Henry Jones recovers for Buffalo. Yet another touchback, no score. Second quarter, after an exchange of field goals made it 3-3, late in the half, Thurman Thomas scores a 3-yard touchdown. Buffalo takes a 10-3 lead into the locker room as once again the Bills are playing for home field advantage. In the game that many of you are watching in Arrowhead Stadium, Kansas City has a 24-10 half-time, make it a 27-10 now halftime lead over the Seattle Seahawks. Montana and the Chiefs hoping for a first-round bye. Early on, 3-0 Seattle after a 55-yard Casey field goal. Montana hits Willie Davis from 14 yards out. Chiefs lead 7-3. Second quarter, 10-3 Kansas City after a Lowry field goal. Todd McNair is the first Casey running back other than Marcus Allen to score a touchdown on the ground this year. That one from 3 yards out. 17-3 Kansas City. Then the Seahawks punting from their own end zone. Tootin's punt is taken right off the foot by Albert Lewis, the 11th block of his career. He recovers for the TD, 24-3 Kansas City. Then late in the half, Rick Meyer escapes the rush and gets the ball to Tracy Johnson for a 2-yard touchdown pass. Narrowed at the time to 24-10. Now the score is 27-10 as the Chiefs appear to be rebounding from their doldrums last Sunday night in Minnesota.
Well, they need a rebound, but I think the one thing they're doing, I hope they keep Montana in there, let him keep sharp, let him keep doing the things they're doing, because Seattle's not a team you take lightly at any time. Rick McMeyer's a good quarterback. He made a great play on a 2-yard touchdown pass. You didn't get a chance to see it, but I saw it. Scrambled all around, found the guy. These guys are still dangerous. I would keep Montana in there, pump it up, and then stick Craig in at the end.
Meyer threw another left-handed pass today, too.
Why not?
Meanwhile, in Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh Steelers are in a desperate situation. They need a win and 2 losses out of the Jets, Dolphins, or Raiders to make it to the playoff. But Cleveland is beating them again. Vinny Testaverde coming off of last week's 91+% passing performance against the Rams. Here, second quarter, 3-0 Pitt. Testaverde connects with Mark Carey, who makes the catch over Rod Woodson, keeps his balance for the 55-yard gain. That set up the Stover field goal that tied it at 3 apiece. Since then, 2 more Stover field goals make it 9-3 favor of Cleveland. And in a game in which the Phoenix Cardinals may be fighting to preserve their coach Joe Bugel's job, spectacular first-half performance by Steve Berline, 15 of 18, 154 yards and 2 touchdowns. Cardinals in the Georgia Dome lead Atlanta 17-3. Coming up, Will McDonough will join us with his weekly news and notes from around the National Football League. That'll be next, after these messages from your local station.
This is the Domino's Pizza NFL Live Halftime Report, brought to you by Domino's Pizza, where you always get great pizza, plus something for nothing.
Welcome back. Our halftime bonus this week, a surprise visit from Will McDonough. Couldn't have a better week for it because this is the week that Jimmy Johnson chooses to express interest in the expansion Jacksonville job.
I love the term, intriguing. You know, you would think with the playoffs going on and his team might go all the way to the Super Bowl, they'd put it down right away. But people who know Jimmy say, look at his background. He's been every place. He stayed for about 4 or 5 years, gets a little antsy, moves on. If you read his book, he talks about being like that. to me, it wouldn't be shocking if somewhere down the line, next year or the year after, he did end up in Jacksonville when they came into the league, maybe with a piece of the team.
Jimmy can choose where he wants to go. Not so Richie Pettibone of Washington.
Well, I think the decision on Richie Pettibone is going to be made this week. I don't think Jack Kent Cooke, the owner of the Redskins, has told anybody in the organization what his plans are for the future of that team. I think Joe Bugle down in Phoenix might have escaped the bullet last week, Jimmy. I think in beating the Giants, he might have saved his job, because Bill Bidwell of the Cardinals talked to a friend of mine this week, and he said no decision's been made on Joe yet, when a lot of people thought Joe was gone already because they didn't win more games. They didn't have a winning season.
Cowboy offensive coordinator Norv Turner.
He's the hot guy in the league right now. In fact, it was Jimmy Johnson who said this week that he thought that Norv was ready to be a head coach in the league. So there's another thing. I think if Jimmy left Dallas, this would be the guy that would probably take over. But I do think if a job opens up, Norv Turner would be the guy.
A lot of general manager talk about Bill Polian, formerly of Buffalo. But what about Bobby Beathard with the Chargers?
This week, you start to hear that more and more. And I talked to two good friends of Bobby this week, and they both said they would not be surprised if he left the Chargers at the end of this year and either get out of football or try to hook on someplace else.
New numbers on the salary cap.
A surprise again. Last week, you and I on the show talked about the cap being like $35 million a year. This week, a memorandum went out to all the owners and said, when you're thinking of your planning financially for the future, think between $32 and $34 million for the first year. That will be decided at a league meeting in Dallas this weekend, Jim.
And in what has been an extremely trying year for Art Modell of the Browns, a poignant experience last weekend.
Well, you know, Vinny Testaverde went out and set a record for the league for best pass efficiency in a game, 21 out of 23 against the Rams last week. And it was the first game Art Modell has missed in 33 years in the regular season. As the Browns owner, he couldn't get out of his driveway.
Incidentally, Will, we've examined our numbers under the salary cap, and I'm offering you a raise for next year.
Good.
Management
Thanks,
may not back me up, but hey, just wanted to let you know I was in your corner. Stay with us now as our NFL Live halftime activities continue.
Kansas City Chiefs on top of the Seattle Seahawks by a score of 27-10. And Joe Gibbs, it appears that Kansas City has pretty much gotten its goal. They wanted to get back on track, especially offensively. Joe Montana talked about the rhythm, and he was in the early rhythm when they got on the scoreboard to Willie Davis.
He's got a rhythm going. I'll tell you, he's thrown them this way, that way, every way. Joe's been particularly sharp the first half.
The numbers for Montana, 17 of 25 for 194 yards, and Davis, the touchdown there, 3 catches for 55 yards, and then a guy who has really made a living in the NFL blocking punts, his 11th career, Albert Lewis, and got the touchdown to boot, his 2nd career.
Well, I'll tell you, Albert Lewis told us, he said, listen, he said, getting Marcus Allen and Joe Montana has rejuvenated my career. This guy's 33 years old. He said, getting those older guys and seeing the excitement and fun they have has got me excited about football again.
And the Coors Light halftime statistics, and pretty much right down the line the advantage for the Chiefs, especially in the possession department.
Yeah, possession and first downs. If you look at that, Kansas City 18-5. I tell you, it's been a pretty solid performance by Kansas City, and they definitely have the upper hand in the stats, almost doubling what Seattle's done so far. And that guy right there has been particularly sharp and responsible for a lot of those yards.
Seattle will receive the kickoff from Nick Lowry, and we may have a chance to see Michael Bates, the kickoff return man for the Seahawks, the bronze medalist in Barcelona in the 200 meters. Bates comes up running at the 6, and he gets hit hard at about the 25.
You've really got to respect him, Dan. Most track guys, you don't picture them being very tough. Everybody on that team said this guy's tough. And by the way, he said he's excited about, he wants to stay alive for those 96 Olympics in Atlanta. He's excited about getting a chance to run again. And
yeah, I wasn't too sure that Michael Bates would set his sights on Atlanta, but he says he has. And we look at the improvement in the points per game for Seattle last year, an NFL low 8.7 for a 16-game schedule. The point total up as well as the yards per game. But Seattle and Rick Meyer have been kept in check pretty much this game, as Meyer went to Brian Blades. That would have been the record breaker for Brian Blades, who needed 5 catches coming into this game to break Steve Largent's record, but the record will have to wait.
Yeah, that was an awful throw. That thing got high, and Rick let that one get away from him totally.
Well, we mentioned also at the top of the game Rick Meyer making a bid for Rookie of the Year honors on offense. Jerome Bettis, the Rams running back, and his former Notre Dame teammate, also with a shot at that honor, as we see John L. Williams. And Reggie Brooks can't be discounted for Washington, another Notre Dame alum who's had an excellent season. But Meyer expected to pick up Rookie of the Year honors.
Can you imagine Notre Dame, the players that they've had there and the ones that have come out, Brooks and Myers, and they just keep right on ticking, huh? Got some talent.
And a Kansas City Chief shaking up. Dan Saliamua being helped off the field. Saliamua made the Pro Bowl as a first alternate.
I think Kansas City's kind of answering on the stopping the run here. Done a pretty good job, with the exception of that big run by John L. They've been pretty solid.
3rd down and 9. Meyer from the shotgun. And he was looking for Doug Thomas, and it was overthrown. Thomas covered pretty well by Eric McMillan, and McMillan is one of those signees by the Chiefs this week to try to bolster an injured defensive secondary. McMillan was signed this week. He's the former Jet and the former defensive Rookie of the Year.
I think this ball just gets up again on Rick. He's getting the balls high today. He's had a couple of those throws. The last 2 have been very high, off the mark.
Rick Tootin. High spiraling kick, and that drives Hughes back to the 15. Across the 30, and Michael Bates made the special teams tackle on Hughes. And if Michael Bates hadn't been able to catch up with him, Bates may have had a chance of breaking one. 55-yard punt.
Watch him cover this thing now, Michael Bates. Watch the speed right here. And then when he gets over, a little shot there, spin, and watch him, his hand come down over the top and try and strip that ball. That is a great job by Bates in that case. Somebody's been working with him a little bit on his tackling, too, trying to strip the ball. That was a very alert play there.
Special teams tackle number 21. I believe that ties Sam Merriman's record in the Seattle record books, set back in 1984 when he had 21 special teams tackles. Montana to the air, over the middle, and he's got Burden for the first down. Burden to the Seahawk 45, brought down by Dwayne Harper.
Joe doing a good job in play action on this case. Came right out, very first play. For them, a little play action fake, and a good look there at Burden, kind of working back to the quarterback on just a stop route.
Gain of 16 for Burden, and the Chiefs with a 1st and 10. They lead at 27-10. This time it is Burden on the far side, and Burden gets a few about to the 41-yard line of Seattle, actually incomplete, and that'll bring up 2nd down. Just at the last minute, it appeared Burden did take his eyes off of it.
Looking probably to see where am I going to run or who is going to hit me. That's the question here. Looking to run or get hit.
Patrick,
you know somebody's
Hunter
coming
made
with
the
that
hit there.
Yeah, when that ball travels that far, you know somebody's coming to tattoo you.
And this is McNair. And McNair corralled by the Tez. A tackle for a loss by Cortez Kennedy. Dallas out in front of the Giants 13-7 in the 3rd. And Detroit now out in front of Green Bay 13-10, also in the 3rd quarter at the Silverdome. Miami needs a win to get into the playoff picture. Tied at 10 now with the Patriots in Foxborough.
Bill Parcells has them rolling.
And there's the Buffalo. Score 10-3 over Indianapolis. The Chiefs are rooting for the Colts to try to pull that one out. Flag on the play here as Montana's pass is complete to Todd McNair out of the backfield. Robert Blackman, the strong safety, on the stop of McNair.
That was a good job by Seattle. They came with the blitz there in real long yardage, and Montana just dumped the ball off. They did not have it blocked. So that was a good call by Seattle, blitzing them in long yardage and just making him throw the ball short.
Offsides. Defense, middle of the line, 5 yards, still third down.
Was he drawing offsides here?
Yes, I think he was. I think definitely Kansas City flinched on that. And I think that's what Tom Flores is saying right there. He had a good view of that from his side. Watch the tight end on that side. See that little flinch by the offense? Hey, that's illegal. You can't do that. Matter of fact, the defense can get a little jump like that and come back, but the offense can't.
It appeared that that was Keith Cash, who may have moved prematurely. 3rd down and 6 for Montana. Looked like he wanted to load it up way downfield, but a nice sliding grab by Burden, but indicated that he was out of bounds. Patrick Hunter over there on the coverage of Burden. Nice grab, but no catch.
Seattle came with the blitz again. Joe's upset with himself because that was man coverage right there. That's his bread and butter. Look at him. He's talking on the way off. He's mad at himself. Watch his reaction. He knows he's upset. That was his chance for a big play. When you see blitz coming and it's picked up, then that means everybody downfield's man for man. He had an opportunity there for a big play and missed it. That's why he's so upset.
The report on Dan Saliamua, shoulder burner, questionable. His return. Brian Barker hangs it up nicely, but it's too far, and Kelvin Martin watches it sail over his head. And the Seahawks will begin from the 20. They trail it 27-10.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Energizer brand batteries. Nothing outlasts the Energizer. They keep going and going and going. By Magnavox, the ingenious products from Magnavox. They're smart, very smart. By Tylenol Cold. Nobody cares for your cold like Tylenol Cold. And by Edge Aftershave. Ultimate comfort. That's the edge.
Well, we expected snow flurries in this game, but just slight drizzles now. And there's Joe Montana on the sidelines, very frustrated in that last throw. But here's another side of Joe Montana that we'll expand upon in just a moment. 1st down and 10 for the Seahawks from the 20. Meyer with time, but has to be flushed out on the left side. He can run, and run he will for the 1st down. He's across the 35, and they'll mark Rick Meyer at the 36. Good enough for the 1st down for the Seahawks, and Meyer had a pretty good lane there on the left side.
Let's look at it the way he would look at it, right from his level. Look, he's back, nobody to work to. He's worried about it, scrambles to the left, and from here on, a pretty good athlete. And at the end here now, you slide feet first as a quarterback. They're not allowed to hit you. It's a good, smart move on his part.
Meyer had a 33-yard run versus Pittsburgh last week. That was the longest by a Seattle quarterback in several years. John L. Williams gets the reception. That was the longest run by a Seattle quarterback since Dave Craig picked up 37 yards 9 years ago. So Meyer is adding to his resume, the early records setting his career. First among AFC quarterbacks this year, rushing.
We see somebody down on the other side. It could be Albert Lewis over there, I think.
It is Albert Lewis.
Hope there's nothing serious there. We were talking to Albert about Montana. We saw the serious side of him a few minutes ago. He was really upset after missing a big play on that man coverage. We saw the serious side, but he goes, hey, listen, this guy in practice, Joe Montana in practice, is like a kid, running all over the place and having fun out there. And he said, you know, he kind of attributed that to the fact he's kind of giving him new life. He looks like he's okay here coming off.
Another look at Albert Lewis.
Bayless.
Martin Bayless colliding those helmets, and you saw how frustrated Albert Lewis was. He's had an injury-plagued career, especially lately. He missed 8 games in '91 with a knee injury. We talked about the broken forearm, which caused him to miss 2 games earlier this year, and he missed 7 last year. 2nd down and 6 for Seattle. John L. Williams is up to the 44, short of the 1st down. That'll bring up 3rd down. We'll also update the Buffalo score, Indianapolis and the Bills. The Bills now out in front 13-3. Steve Christie has a field goal. And now we look at Dave Craig warming up on the sidelines. His team out in front 27-10 with 10:20 left in the 3rd quarter.
Not a bad move here.
3rd down and 2. Meyer in and out of the hands of Kelvin Martin. Would have been good for the first down. Martin unable to hold on. That'll bring up 4th down.
Yeah, regardless of Mike Dicka's approach, I think. I think right about in here getting Craig ready. A little bit of a juggling act in the middle of the field here. I tell you, that's tough. The ball's behind him a little bit, and that made it tough for him to get that thing in. You want to get that ball a little bit in front. That's a tough pattern to throw. A guy crossing your face like that, those are the hardest to get the ball in exactly the right place, particularly in the middle of the field. The receiver can get hit.
Rick Tootin's punt bounces at the 18. Danon Hughes lets it go. Michael Bates touched it. I believe he's about at the 1-yard line or 2-yard line. They've got to spot it at the 3. So where's Michael Bates on an outstanding special teams play? Anybody else in their speed doesn't get the job done here, but Olympic speed gets it done.
I think he's making a statement here about not getting voted that Pro Bowl. I don't blame him. The guy's capable of making plays all over the field with that kind of speed, and he is a tough guy. Kansas City and Dave Craig will begin from the 2.
So with 10:04 left in the 3rd quarter, Kansas City up 27-10. Marty Schottenheimer has elected to go with Dave Craig, the 3-time Pro Bowler with Seattle. Joe Montana on the sidelines. And Craig, his first series, has the Chiefs backed up. And out of the backfield, he'll find Keith Cash. And Cash lucky if he got a yard. As the scores continue to roll, Dallas up 13-7 on the Giants. Home field throughout on the line in that game. And the NFC Central title on the line at Pontiac. Green Bay up now. And Miami has to win to get in the playoffs. Patriots giving all they can handle at Foxborough, and the Bills up 13-3 on the Colts.
Yeah, I don't think that score had anything to do with Marty Schottenheimer's decision here. I just think he felt like it was time. I think it's a good decision. Hey, Joe Montana's been sharp. Get him out of there and let Craig go in.
2nd down and 10. Craig to the air again, and again intended for Keith Cash. Incomplete. That'll bring up 3rd down and 10. Rod Stevens on the coverage. In the first meeting about a month ago when Seattle beat Kansas City 31, Kansas City beat Seattle 31-16 at the Kingdome. Dave Craig did not play in that game, so this is the first time that he's faced his former teammates this season.
I'd say this is not the place that you want to go in as a quarterback. Everybody out there, any of the young quarterbacks, you don't want to go in on the 2-yard line looking at 98 yards down the field. This is a tough situation for Dave Craig.
3rd and 10. There's an update from the Hoosier Dome. 16-3 now. Bills up. And Craig's pass intended for Willie Davis, incomplete. Carlton Gray on the coverage. And a flag has been thrown. And the indication against Seattle.
Offsides, number 75 defense, 5 yards, still 3rd down.
Well, that is Michael McCrary, and that'll give Craig and the Seahawks, or rather Craig and the Chiefs, a little breathing room. 3rd down and 5.
Yeah, because I tell you, that's one place you do not want to punt from, the 2-yard line. You don't even have enough depth in there to punt from normally you're 15 yards back. That would have been a tough situation. So that was a big play there. I know Coach Flores is upset about that. Burden fighting for the first down. Needed to get up to the 13. And it'll just be a matter where they spotted Tom White, indicating that Kansas City has picked up the first down. So Dave Craig gets the job done. JJ's popping his head. He says, hey, what happened on that? I attracted a lot of people. Watch the people coming from the inside now. The linebackers, the corners, everybody. Look at this. 1, 2. JJ took a shot or 2.
Well, the old adage, Joe, is that you need 2 quarterbacks to survive to get into the playoffs and go anywhere. Dave Craig has proved to be an admirable backup for Joe Montana. And on 1st and 10, swings it out to Ernie Thompson, and Thompson diving for first down yardage. He's across the 25, another cheap first down. But this is the 12th game of this season that Dave Craig has made an appearance. And he also relieved Montana last week in the fourth quarter. That was late in mop-up duty, but Dave Craig has seen significant action this year.
There's Cortez Kennedy getting his normal dose of 2 guys, but still got some pressure in there. I'd say that sometimes is the biggest decisions for an owner to spend money as a backup quarterback, because it costs a lot of money. But they're some of the best investments I think you could ever make. Hey, Doug Williams with us. We would have probably never won a Super Bowl if we don't have Doug Williams as a backup quarterback.
Dave Craig getting some reps and finding Tim Barnett. Barnett, another Chiefs first down. He's across the 40. Dwayne Harper made the stop on Barnett.
There's such an investment in quarterbacks, Dan. You know, we were talking about Rick Meyer coming in late. As we take a look at the route here, just a simple out route. Rick Meyer comes in late, missed all kinds of work as we talked with Tom Flores, and it was hard to get him caught up. Now, you can imagine all the investment that you've got in a quarterback, and you need to start from day one with them. You need to have a guy like Dave Craig that's been around, sitting there with the ability to go in if you're making a run for the playoffs, which the Chiefs are.
Talk about 2 experienced quarterbacks as well, as we look at Todd McNair. But Montana in his 15th season and Dave Craig in his 14th season. So it's not like if Montana gets hurt, you go with a guy that's has some talent. But not only does Dave Craig have talent, he's got the experience of 14 seasons. And who knows where he's going to end up next year with the emergence of Matt Blunden, the rookie. As you look at Montana's postseason career numbers. So this indeed could be Dave Craig's final season in Kansas City. A loss by McNair, 2nd down and 12. Bernie Thompson the other way. Thompson turning the corner. Thompson across midfield. Another Chiefs first down. Rod Stevens chased him out.
The counter play here where you fake a sweep and hand off back underneath, and it caught Seattle. Watch this. The quarterback turns, and you can see the defense from Seattle starting to pursue, and a reverse to the fullback back out of the backfield. A big play. We were talking about that. I tell you, Dan, I'd probably be, as a coach, I'd be fighting for Dave Craig, though. I'd be saying, hey, listen, talk to Lamar and Carl Peterson. I'd be saying, look, I know it's a lot of money to spend. We need this guy. It came in handy this year. Bring along the young guy. Continue to bring him along, but give me a veteran quarterback to back up.
Well, here is Thompson again. And Thompson inside the 45, brought down by the Tez. Let's get you back to our New York studios and another update.
Dan, let's take you to Foxborough, where Miami had momentarily climbed into a 10-10 tie with New England before Bledsoe, from 11 yards out, gets it to fellow rookie Vincent Brisby, and the Patriots continue to torment the Dolphins, now leading 17-10 in the 3rd. Back to Dan and Joe.
Miami's got to win. And what has happened to Miami and Don Shula down the stretch this season, Joe?
And what a great job by Bill Parcells. Hey, the guy's got a formula. It's starting to pay off up there. Went through some heartache earlier. Definitely Don Shula's got to really be upset. As we watch an off-tackle play here in a run, a good job by Seattle. I've been down vacationing in Florida, southern Florida, and I'll tell you, Dan, there's been a lot on the radio down there. They're upset down there. They're mad about what's happened to the Dolphins. You hear them talking about players, and it's been hard for them to figure, really.
Well, here's the situation. Miami can clinch a playoff berth with a win or a tie against New England, or they can get in with a Jets loss and a Pittsburgh loss, or a Jets loss or tie and a Raiders loss, with Miami maintaining its lead over the Raiders in net conference points, Joe.
Or if Florida State should lose to... No.
I don't think the bowl games have anything to do with it. Todd McNair off left tackle on 3rd and 5. He'll be short of the first down. So we'll see Barker come out to punt it away. Dave Craig got the Chiefs out of a hole back at the 2-yard line. And with 3:50 and counting in the 3rd, the Seahawks will have another shot.
You see how mistakes come into play? That offsides down there, Dan, when Seattle had them stopped. Look at this, 55 yards difference right now. You're sitting here. That's how mistakes, I mean, it just drives coaches crazy. You got them stopped, and you jump offsides.
Kelvin Martin stands back at his 10. Barker will try to hang it up high, and Martin falls for the fair catch and lets it sail over his head. And the Chiefs may have pinned Seattle back deep.
I actually think he came down, though, I think that's a correct call. I think he had the ball and his feet actually touched the ground.
Eric McMillan was down there along with Benny Thompson.
Let's see if we can see this now. The ball bounces, and the rule says you cannot be down in play. See him right there? He's on the ground.
That was Eric McMillan with the first contact. And Bruce Pickens also down there on the goal line. It bounced off his right foot.
Right here when he catches the ball, watch him come down with his 1 foot. Hey, he's all over the line right there. It's a good call. Excellent call by the refs.
Good call by the officials. They'll bring it out to the 20. And when we come back, we'll see Seattle down 17 points, try to get back in it. Dan Hicks and Joe Gibbs back at sold-out Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. The Chiefs on top of the Seattle Seahawks 27-10, 3:18 left in the third quarter. And if the Seahawks are going to make a run at the Chiefs, Joe, this seems to be the series that they need to get something generated on offense.
Yeah, Rick Myers needs to get something going here. You know, we were talking to Rick and the coaches, and they feel like that offensive line has been one of the keys to helping Rick. And they have 2 players in there, Heck and Brills, that are potential free agents in some way or another that they don't want to lose this next year.
That offensive line has opened up holes, which has produced back-to-back 200-yard rushing games, the last 2 games for Seattle. And Michael Bates has his first career reception.
He finally gets a touch of the football. Coach Flory said we put him in on a couple of these sets. That's one of them. And we tried to get him some things just like this little hitch route. He could be dangerous with this. You can imagine trying to tackle him, a world-class sprinter, if you miss. And Kansas City did a good job getting over there. But they've been trying to get him the ball in several of these formations and not been able to do it.
He's in the plans next year as a wide receiver for Seattle. His first career catch, John L. Williams on second down. Williams probably lost a yard. He'll get no better than the 25 brought down by Lonnie Marks. Well, the Chiefs' playoff possibilities, if the Bills beat the Colts. Joe, you getting all this? 32 total combinations possible if the Bills beat the Colts.
Now, I don't have a photographic memory, but we were talking to a couple of the guys down there, and they claim Joe Montana does. Maybe he could get this. I couldn't.
Yeah, Joe could decipher this. New York Jets, New England, Denver, and Cleveland win. Chiefs play the Jets. Shotgun, third down, Meyer. And Kelvin Martin has the first down for Seattle. Big catch by Kelvin Martin, the former Dallas Cowboy.
We were talking to Rusty Tillman. He was making that point about Montana here as we look at a couple of guys on the field, and he said that, you know, Joe, according to Paul Hackett, who works with him, says he does have a photographic memory. And after looking at that playbook of 106 passes going into this, I don't think there's a quarterback I could have coached that could have done a good job of operating that thing with that many plays in it.
First and 10. Meyer lobs it across the middle to Farrell Edmonds. And Edmonds attracts a crowd in a hurry. Tracy Rogers was there first to meet him. But Seattle had the back-to-back rushing games, over 200 yards the last 2 weeks. And with Vaughn a little bit banged up, Myers had to improvise mostly from the air to get any yardage for Seattle.
Yeah, and Farrell Edmonds here, Coach Flory said he was one of the keys to the running game. The reason why he picked up, he's able to block linebackers on the edge for the running game, block those outside linebackers.
He attributes Farrell Edmonds' blocking abilities to the Seahawk success on the ground as of late, and I believe that was Brian Blades, and indeed it was, and Brian Blades has now broken Steve Largent's single-season receiving record of 79, set back in 1985, reception number 80 for Brian Blades in his 6th year out of Miami, having the best season of his career, and caps it off with a nice milestone here in the final game of 93.
This is a little option route to Brian where they bring him in motion behind the tight end, the 2 tight ends, let them clear out, and then he can go anywhere he wants to go. It's hard to defend that route.
Third down and 4. Myers got Kelvin Martin, and he's into Chief territory, and another Seattle first down. And time winds down in the third quarter. A flag has been thrown back at the 32.
I think they may have roughed Rick Meyer on that. Matter of fact, he turned to the referee and called it himself afterwards. See, he agrees. They hit me late. Let's see what happens. In the face. You cannot go to a quarterback. You cannot go high into a quarterback.
Personal foul. Housing the passer. Number 92. Hit to the head. 15 yards will be tacked on. We'll extend the period for an untimed down. First down.
Darren Mickle picks up the penalty.
The first thing you tell your players, look, the one sin in the NFL is hitting the quarterback either low or high. You cannot do that. In that case, he went to his head. He got called.
End of the third quarter in Kansas City. The Chiefs up 27-10. Right back after these messages from your local station. Back in Kansas City. Kansas City had the 27-10 lead at halftime, and after a scoreless third quarter, the score remains 27-10. And a look at the stats through three quarters.
A whopping 23 first downs to 8, and the other big difference is in the passing yardage. Rush is not off that much. But I tell you, Seattle is making. You got to admire the guys. See, they've got really nothing to play for the last 2 weeks. They beat Pittsburgh hands down. Do a great job there. Turn around and come back this, and they're giving Kansas City fits. They can make a shot at this. They can take a run at this.
Coming up next on most of these NBC stations, game 2 of an NFL doubleheader. Most of you will see the Broncos take on the Raiders. The Raiders are in the playoffs if the Steelers lose to Cleveland, but if the Steelers can't win that game, the Raiders have to beat Denver to make the playoffs. So a lot on the line at the Coliseum. Some of you will see the Bengals take on the New Orleans Saints as well. San Diego also in Tampa Bay, and an update. Jim Kelly, touchdown pass to Pete Metzelaars, has put the Bills in front 23-3, so it does not appear that the Colts will help Marty Schottenheimer's cause here today, but the Chiefs just trying to get the win. This is Michael Bates on the reverse, and Bates has 5 yards. That's another flag has come in late on the play, but Bates told us also he expected a reverse in the offensive game plan for him today, and there it is.
Well, I think what the coaches are trying to do is show them how much they appreciate his play. And I think they give him a little reverse. They gave him a little hitch out there to try and get him the ball. And you like to do this with the guys that really
5-yard face mask on the tackle, number 52. That will be a first down.
Watch the way he finishes this run right here. Watch him. I mean, he's got his head down and going forward. I mean, the guy's not afraid of contact, and you get the face mask there at the end.
Face mask on Tracy Rogers, number 52. I think Michael Bates is going to be one of the more exciting players next year when he's used more in the offensive set for Seattle. First down and 10 for the Seahawks. Ball at the Chief 24. Play action to Williams. Out of the backfield, Johnson. And Johnson inside the 20, down to the 16. We've just started the fourth quarter here at Arrowhead. Let's go to New York and check in with Jim Lampley.
Where we tell you, Dan, to get your mittens and your long hose out because it looks like the AFC playoffs will go through Buffalo. Early fourth quarter, 1 yard on the play fake. Kelly to Metzelaars. Buffalo now leads Indianapolis 23-3. Bills closing in on home field advantage in the AFC. Back to Dan and Joe.
Indeed they are, Jim. And Kansas City up 27-10. And this is John L. Williams inside the 10. And that will bring up first and goal for Seattle.
I tell you, we've been well conditioned at Lambeau Field for cold weather. We're ready for them. And we have not been sitting in that warm booth, such as Jim and our buddy Dicka.
Joe Gibbs taking a late shot at and Dicka back in the studios. First and goal for the Seahawks. They trail it by 17. And a fumble by Williams.
That was close to whether he was down or not. Let's see what the referee said. Nope.
And they say the Chiefs have recovered the fumble by John L. Williams.
All right. John L., were you down or not? Up inside, really has the ball in good position there. It's out. I think it's a good call. His knee was not down. That's a good call.
Williams cops up the football, and all of a sudden Seattle's drive has come to a quick end, and they could have used a touchdown here. John L. Williams has just fumbled for Seattle, the ball at the 4-yard line, so Dave Craig once again backed up.
He's saying, what's the deal here? I get the ball at the 2 and I get it at the 4. Oh, they're not going to make it easy on you, Dave. They're going to make you work here.
Pretty good day for John L. Williams, aside from that fumble, 11 carries for 69 yards. But the Seahawks never really able to get that rushing game generated. John Vaughn, who had the 131-yard game last week for the career high. Hyperextended knee. He wasn't 100%. And there is John L. Williams right behind big Jeff Blackshear.
Yeah, it's hard to see John L. for Jeff. Jeff kind of covers the whole screen up there. That's the kind of guy you want to be running behind. Big guy.
Craig and the Chiefs at the 4. Craig looking for Tim Barnett, incomplete. And Dave Craig, who took every snap as the quarterback last season for the Kansas City Chiefs. He led the team to a 10-6 record, got him into the playoffs. But Kansas City losing in the first round to San Diego.
I think only one playoff victory so far, you know, with Marty.
1-3 in the playoffs.
1-3 in the playoffs, and he says, hey, that's something we want to. That's why they went out and got that guy right there.
Well, at the Hoosier Dome, another backup quarterback is in. Frank Reich has replaced Jim Kelly. And this is John Stevens. And he's brought down by Rod Stevens. And been a disappointing ending here for Seattle if indeed they end up on the short end of this score. They really wanted to end the season with 2 straight wins. Tom Flores the 2-14 mark last year, 6-9 coming into this game.
Big series right here, though. If they stop them right here, this punt is going to give them real good field position here. It's a big play.
Craig, quick slanting pattern, and Barnett not able to hold on. Craig, the pass a little bit behind.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit on his hip. It's a combination. You see Dave's upset with himself, and it could have been caught, but it would have to be a heck of a catch. This, again, is that slant from the outside, and Seattle was laying back. They had a good chance at that. I think Dave is upset that he missed that. Craig just missed one there.
Albert Lewis blocked one of Rick Tootin's punts, and the Seahawks would like to get a quick touchdown here as Barker is backed up in his own end zone.
See, he doesn't have 15 yards to work with here.
Able to get it off, and a pretty good kick. Kelvin Martin begins at the 46, 40, and inside the 35, so pretty good field position for Seattle. They have 12 minutes and 14 seconds to work with, but they trail it by 17.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by American Honda, who has been making quality cars in America for the past 11 years. By Coors Light, age ice cold for that pure taste of the Rockies. Reach for the silver bullet, the right beer now. By Interstate Batteries, we check them before you buy them for fresh power guaranteed. And by Head & Shoulders and Head & Shoulders 2-in-1, turns dandruff problems into great-looking hair.
Well, some of the 77,000 here at Arrowhead Stadium have gone home, thinking that the Chiefs' 27-10 lead is safe with 12 minutes and 14 seconds left. But Seattle in good field position here at the Kansas City 32, first down and 10. Williams and Johnson in the backfield behind Meyer. Paul Green, the tight end, in motion to the near side. Meyer pumps once. He's looking for Michael Bates. Bates got tangled up with Bruce Pickens, and a flag has been thrown, so maybe Michael Bates was interfered with.
Yeah, I think that was what that was. You saw Rick Meyer go back, and it was a pump and go. He gave that little pump like he's going to throw the out route, And I think Pickens just reached out and grabbed the receiver because I think he was beat. It was a smart play on his part.
Illegal contact, number 39 defense. That will be 5 yards from the previous flag. First down.
Okay, let's watch a little pump. See that little pump fake? And Pickens comes up and makes the hit there. Now, if I was coaching that, I would have said to the receiver this: look, when a guy is off of you that far, you got to make more of a fake. A little quick pump fake like that does not work. In other words, he needed to sell that a little more and get Pickens up. Then he could have gone by him. He rushed that a little bit.
This time finds Thomas, and Thomas gets up to the 23.
It's not been a good clean passing game for Meyer. In other words, he's back there many times. There's nothing to work, and he winds up scrambling around. These are kind of broken routes here.
And it'll bring up second down at 6. You see Bruce Pickens there on the coverage of Thomas early on, and Pickens, another one of those defensive backs acquired by the Chiefs. He was picked up a couple of weeks ago, spent his first 5 games with the Falcons, traded to the Packers, but they released him, and he's now with the Chiefs. This is John L. Williams breaking into the clear for the touchdown.
No fumble there for John L. He was mad, wasn't he? Went for the end zone.
It's the 3rd rushing touchdown of the season for John L. Williams, 4th overall.
Well, this is one of the things that Kansas City said they've got to do is stop the run. We were talking to their defensive players, Albert Lewis and people like that, and they said, hey, we cannot afford to let people run on them. And they've been doing a pretty good job up until 2 big runs by John L. This is the second one.
That one good for 23. John Casey has a chance to bring the Seahawks within 10. And he does it.
I always used to laugh at our defensive coaches. You know, they would always come up with those big rushing yards. They say, well, it was just 2 big runs against us. I said, well, those count, don't they? John L's got 2 big ones.
Well, the Seahawks now within 10 here, 27-17. You see how the score there, the big Buffalo lead over Indianapolis, and the Chief players looking across the sideline could see that score, Joe, very clearly.
I think that's what's happened. Their intensity's dropped off here dramatically after they saw that score and saw what's happening. And I think Seattle's picked up and they've dropped off.
John Stevens from the 9 pulls his way across the 25, fumbles the football, and Seattle may have recovered, and they do.
Now, we just talked to Marty Schottenheimer, and he said, hey, we worked with Stevens on handling the ball. On this kick returns, as we got a scuffle going on the field here.
And John Casey came up with a football, the kicker. Flags have been thrown as we take another look.
Marty said we didn't rush him into it. We've been working with him, fielding him in practice. Had spent a lot of time with him and felt very confident about him. And inexperience here winds up with a turnover.
We have offsetting personal fouls.
But here's Michael Bates covering a kickoff
on Seattle.
Actually, that was a great hit. Well, I guess he's upset about being kicked here.
Is disqualified. Number 46 on Kansas City is disqualified.
Well, Michael Bates has been disqualified, and you got the scuffle with Thompson, and Thompson has also been ejected from the game. Offsetting penalties, and this was the knockout punch for both players.
Now that's legal right there. So it has to be. It's the fight afterwards. Well, actually shoving him. Then there. Now that is illegal.
I still hadn't seen anything from Michael Bates.
No, Michael Bates I thought was trying to defend himself. I'm not sure Michael didn't get the wrong side of that one.
It was all Benny Thompson putting a big hit on Bates, taunting him, and then rubbing it in.
Let's see if we can follow it all the way through here. There's the initial hit. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay. A little scuffle. Still probably just going to be offset. And then right here, I think that is now that is an an all-out fight by both guys. I'll say Michael Bates was after him here now, wasn't he?
I have to say that here's Michael Bates just trying to defend himself. Yeah, he threw some punches.
Yeah, you're not allowed to throw the punches.
And you do have to keep your cool in that situation. But Benny Thompson really instigated it. But both players ejected.
I think Michael's a little upset, too, about the frustration of everything that happens to him. And both special teams, great players. And I'll tell you, that's a tough deal.
In fact, it was Michael Bates who said that he thought Benny Thompson would be the guy that would beat him out in the Pro Bowl instead of Steve Tasker, who ends up the Pro Bowl starter as a special teams guy. I don't think Michael Bates would be making the same comment right now after getting into fisticuffs with Benny Thompson. Had respect for him. I don't know how much he has right now.
He's not going to get his vote next year for All-Pro, I'll say that.
Well, more importantly, Seattle, with 11:33 left, trailing by 10, is in business at the Chief 34. Meyer escapes the pressure, runs away from Lonnie Martz, and gets out of bounds and gets to the 29.
That was an athletic move, and what did he do with the ball there at the end? I'm glad we're going to see this. That was a heck of an escape right here by Rick Meyer. Down the field. He's got it away from his body right here, and he just gets raked out.
Lonnie Martz stripped Meyer of the football, but not before Meyer gets 5 yards. Second down and 5. John L. Williams. And he's very close to the first down.
John L. Williams, long carrier.
Rams and Bears just underway. John L. Williams atoning for the fumble that ended the drive for Seattle. Just scored a touchdown from 23 yards out and is over the 100-yard mark.
It's only 14 carries, too.
Big play here for Seattle. Third down and a long one. They'll give it to John L. And John L. picks up the first down, keeps the Seahawk drive alive, down to the 23. Let's get back to our New York studios in Jim Lampley.
Dan, Pittsburgh needs a win and some help to get into the playoffs. They've trailed most of the day against Cleveland, but now midway in the fourth, they get that 14-yard O'Donnell to Eric Green touchdown, and Pittsburgh suddenly in control, up 13-9 over Cleveland late. Back to Dan and Joe and KC.
Here at Arrowhead, Seahawks trying to get back in it. Meyer flushed out. He's inside the 20, down to about the 19. The clock continuing to run, 9:45 left.
Not a smooth day passing for Seattle. I keep mentioning that because Rick Meyer keeps going back. There's nothing to work. See, boom, right there when he hits on his back foot, he should throw that football. When you start holding that thing and running like this, you've got an uneven performance going on, and it's just not a smooth operation in the passing game for Seattle.
Williams is a low setback. He picked up 4, second down and 6. He'll get it again. And maybe got a yard, that's all. Dan Saliamua stopped him. Back to the scoreboard. See Detroit out in front of Green Bay in the fourth quarter. NFC Central Championship on the line there. Miami trailing New England in the fourth by a field goal. And Buffalo in command at the Hoosier Dome. Third down and 6 for the Seahawks. Meyer has to run it out again. Looking for the first down marker. He got it to about the 13-yard line. Martin Bayless made the stop.
Now that is a competitor. You see him right here. You see a competitor's hard. He went for that thing, put the ball out, goes head first. Again, though, over and over again, going back, looking right there. The ball should be thrown. Nobody to work to. Has to come out of the pocket. Watch him right here now. Here's a competitive part of him. See him put that shoulder down and go for that. He was not sliding feet first there. He was going for it anyway. It sets up a 4th down and short.
Just short of the first down marker. 7:53 left. Seahawks down by 10. And Tom White, the referee, has stopped play. It's actually a Kansas City timeout.
Yeah, they couldn't get the right people on the field. I think they wanted to get their goal line in there, and they couldn't get it in.
There's the time left in the 4th. There's John L. Williams over the 100-yard mark, the first time this season, the 6th time in his career. The last time he had 100 yards 2 years ago. His career high, 112, back in 1987. He would appear to get the call here on 4th and short, but they go play action to him, and Meyer has the first down to Farrell Edmonds, down to the Kansas City 8.
A little bit of a shocker there. A little play action with 4th. It may have been 2 inches there.
Excellent call.
Tom Flores. I think some confusing on that route, though. They're very fortunate here in Seattle to get that. You don't want 2 receivers in the same area like that. Somebody was confused there.
First and goal from the 8. Meyer looking for Kelvin Martin in the far end of the end zone, incomplete.
Now that was a pump route. That's too close. You're not going to be able to get that kind of a route inside close. In order for that to be effective, the receiver would have had to drove the DB down inside and buy some time, because the quarterback runs out of time. With that quick of a fake and a pump on it, Rick Meyer could not have got the ball up and down in the time that it would take.
Jay Taylor on the coverage, and for Taylor, it's his first start for the Chiefs. He has replaced Dale Carter, who's inactive, broke his arm in the 3rd quarter last week. Another one of the Kansas City defensive backs out of action because of an injury. John L. Williams on 2nd and goal, gets it inside the 5. He's close to the 3.
You like to see this happen to John L. I mean, here's a guy that normally gets stuck blocking for everybody else. And now he's getting a chance to run a little bit, and a heck of a job, too. He's had a great career. He's a heck of an athlete, but it's fun to see him get his opportunity in this game.
John Vaughn, who had the impressive week last week, is out of action for the rest of this one. His shoulder pads were sitting on the bench sidelines a moment ago. 3rd down and goal.
That's twice now that Kansas City's had a problem with substitution and had to call timeouts, had to burn timeouts themselves. It was a late substitution by Seattle, and I think that's what got them in trouble.
40-second timeout.
The defensive coordinator for Kansas City, Dave Adolph, Schottenheimer's defensive coordinator in Cleveland, and the former defensive coordinator before arriving here of the Raiders. So next Sunday, keep it right here on NBC Sports for the opening round of the playoffs, the AFC wild card game. And before the game, Jim Lampley, Mike Ditka, O.J. Simpson, and Will McDonough keep you up to date with all the information from around the league. Then it is game time, the winner advancing to the divisional playoffs, the winner of that wild card game.
As you look at Coach Flores there and Kennan making the substitution there, what happens is the defense wants to match up with them. So when they sent in, they went, in that case, from a run-type offense with 3 wide receivers. Kansas City wanted to try and get their people in, and there was confusion, and they had to call timeout. So that's one of the chess matches you get, matching up personnel in the league. I'd hate to see us to ever stop that. We've talked about some of the things, you know, limiting substitution. I'd hate to see that. That's one of the fun things in coaching and one of the creative things. I'd hate to see us ever do that, some kind of a rule change.
3rd down and goal. The ball at the 4-yard line for the Seahawks. 6.5 minutes remaining. Kansas City leads at 27-17. A touchdown here and an extra point would put Seattle within 3. Tom White is having some technical difficulties.
Stadium clock, 6 minutes, 33 seconds.
As he had to take his entire microphone set off, reattach it. Tom Flores looking for his 100th win as an NFL head coach. Marty Schottenheimer looking for his 50th as the head coach of the Chiefs. More importantly, does not want to drop 2 straight heading into the playoffs. Seattle played the spoiler role last week against Pittsburgh and is looking for the same thing here today. 3rd and goal. Meyer on the run. Touchdown to Farrell Edmonds.
A big play by Rick Meyer, again coming out of the pocket. He's had to do it all day long in this case, and that's the place that you get great plays out of your great players. That's 3rd down and 5. No tougher situation than that. And actually turns a broken play. Watch him go back here now. He cannot throw that on time, see? He's not set. Again, he's scrambling around, but by him scrambling and being the athlete he is, he buys time, get a guy open in the end zone.
Well, we talked about how big John L. Williams has been as you look at the reaction from Meyer, but Farrell Edmonds, who has been blocking for John L. Williams, picks up just his 2nd touchdown of the season. John Casey tacks on the extra point, and Seattle is within 3. Kansas City thought they had this one in command, but it's turned into an interesting one. Back at Arrowhead Stadium, Kansas City up just by 3 points right now. And did Marty Schottenheimer pull Joe Montana just a little bit early? Pulled him with 10 minutes or so left in the 3rd quarter. Now, do you go back with Joe, or do you stick with Dave Craig?
No, you don't go back with him. He didn't pull him too quick. Joe Montana doesn't play defense and doesn't fumble balls. I think Marty did the right thing at the right time, and I think they got to win the game certainly behind Dave Craig. They can do that, and Dave Craig has not had very good field position to work with. He's been back on the 4 and the 2, so I think it's a set of circumstances, and I think Coach Schottenheimer did the right thing.
Montana 18 of 28 for 210 yards, a touchdown pass and an interception. The Seahawks have all 3 of their timeouts left. John Stevens has it at the 6. And gets across the 25 to the 27. So Kansas City will set up there as Dallas and the Giants are in overtime. Treadwell field goal with 10 seconds left has forced the extra time there, and Detroit out in front of Green Bay by 10 now. Just under 4 minutes left there, and the Patriots still nursing the 3-point lead over the Dolphins. Buffalo on its way to a win in Indianapolis.
Now here's where Kansas City needs to keep the ball for a while. Dave Craig, move him a little bit, get some first downs, eat the clock up, finish this off.
Craig trying to swing it out to Todd McNair out of the backfield. That'll bring up 2nd down and 10. Well, it was Dave Craig just a couple of weeks ago who rallied Kansas City, gave them the clinching touchdown, involved in the clinching touchdown drive versus San Diego after Kansas City got behind 17-0. And with 6:15 left, Kansas City trying to hang on to a 3-point lead. And this is McNair, right side, no gain. And the fans are booing the play calling of the Chiefs.
Well, you don't like this if you're Marty Schottenheimer. You don't like seeing your team give up a lead like that a week before you go into the playoffs. But I think there's a lot of things that were going against them here. But certainly I do not second guess his pulling of Joe Montana. I think it was the right thing to do at the right time. They've just lost their enthusiasm and a killer instinct, I think, when they see that score on the scoreboard over there, 30-10.
3rd down and long. Greg pumps once, twice, and it's complete. Willie Davis. But Davis will be short of the first down, and that'll bring up 4th down. Back to New York and an update with Jim Lampley.
And a little clutch football from the Dolphins, Dan, trailing 20-17, less than 4 minutes to go in Foxborough. Power football, Terry Kirby, pitch sweep, picks his way through blockers and tacklers, goes 15 yards, and the Dolphins get new life, leading 24-20 over the Pats with 3:40 to go. Back to Dan and Joe.
The Dolphins playing for their playoff lives. Kansas City keeps this drive alive. Willie Davis did pick up the first down, so the ball at the 37. Clock continuing to roll, 4:50 left. And this is Ernie gets across the 40. Gain of about 3 or 4.
That was a big play by Dave Craig there on 3rd down and 10. He must have picked that up just by inches. But a little bit of his own sidearm delivery. Got the 1st down for him.
Kansas City very successful in 3rd down conversions today. That's tailed off a little bit here in the 2nd half, but they are 10 of 15. As you look at Paul Hackett, the offensive coordinator for Kansas City. Craig feels the pressure, but he's able to get rid of it, and Tim Barnett has another Kansas City 1st down. Jeff Bryant was applying the pressure on Dave Craig, but another clutch 14-yard connection.
This is the best field position that really Craig has had from the standpoint of a drive, and he's actually made a couple of big plays here for him, and he's fulfilling his role right here. He's made a couple of plays, keeping the ball in Kansas City's hands here and making 1st downs. That's exactly what they'd like to do at this point. 3:27. And a 3-point lead here.
Rusty Tillman, you just saw the defensive coordinator for the Seahawks trying to stop this cheap drive. Up the middle is McNair. And the clock continuing to tick down to the 3-minute mark.
Those are interesting shots there. Rusty Tillman, to me, the defensive coordinator, and going against Paul Hackett. You see Rusty there. These are some of the most valuable people in this league. Some of the ones with the most knowledge, and these are the real chess matches. Rusty's making his call on defense, and Paul Hackett's upstairs making his on offense.
Well, you mentioned the flu and cold bout that Seattle has fought. Rusty Tillman had pneumonia on Monday, but didn't even miss practice, did he?
Yeah, coaches can't miss. That's part of the rule.
Tom Flores thought he might have to send him to the hospital. 2nd down and 8. Craig rolling to his right. Not able to get rid of it, still on his feet, and he'll take the sack close to midfield. Jeff Bryant picks it up, his 2nd of the season.
Now, that was actually an excellent play. Watch at the end of this. Watch Dave Craig look down. All of a sudden, he's on the sideline. He knows he does not want to step out of bounds here. Watch him. He looks down right here, and he says, up, sidelines. The veteran quarterback, he comes back in bounds. It takes a couple of yard loss, but he kept that clock running.
Excellent point. As Seattle uses one of its timeouts, the Seahawks with just 2 remaining now. And we'll remind you, coming up, the 2nd half of our doubleheader here on NBC. The big one from the Coliseum, the Broncos and the Raiders. Some of you will see Cincinnati and New Orleans and San Diego and Tampa Bay, but the Raiders on the bubble, trying to make the playoffs. They'll get in if the Steelers lose to Cleveland. But if the Steelers are able to win it, the Raiders must beat Denver to make it into the playoffs. It's been a roller coaster season for Tom Flores, his former coach, or former team, I should say. He was with the Raiders for 12 seasons, picked up 2 Super Bowl titles, and now in his 2nd year as head coach of the Seahawks, trying to end the '93 season on a positive note.
I wish they'd have lost that one in '83. That would have helped me.
Was that Super Bowl 18?
Redskins. I would have had another Super Bowl win.
3rd down and 11 for the Chiefs. Ball just across midfield. Seahawks showing blitz. Craig backpedals and looks for Willie Davis. Davis unable to catch up to it, and that'll bring up 4th down. The Chiefs will punt, and the Seahawks will get a chance to make it even more interesting.
Now, you saw Joe Montana get upset when he had man coverage. Now you see Dave Craig. That's when a quarterback's eyes get big. They get big when he sees, watch his reaction here. When they know it's man coverage, and I got him locked one-on-one, and I get the protection, and he moved around there to give himself a chance, that could have been a big play. That's when quarterbacks get excited. Both ways. You're either going to get hit real hard, or you're going to give a chance for a touchdown on the blitz.
Barker's punt is a beauty. Drive Martin back to the 3, and he'll elect to bring it out. And he'll go out of bounds at the 9-yard line. Maybe they'll spot it at the 10, and a 46-yard punt, 6-yard return, and Rick Meyer with a chance to bring back the Seahawks in the fourth quarter.
That's a bad decision right there. You stand on the 10. You do not back up. Do not field the ball back in there on the 5.
Let it go. You got it on the 20.
Yeah, and give Rick Meyer another 10 yards to work for a field goal. That's a bad decision. I admire his courage, but not his smarts. And that
perhaps he saw something that we didn't on the field. Maybe there was an opening, but all Martin was able to do was get it to the 10. So 90 yards for Rick Meyer, and this is the most noise Arrowhead Stadium has mustered in a while. Meyer on the run, stripped to the football. It's loose, and I believe the Chiefs have recovered. Yes, they have at the 11. Tim Newton made the recovery.
We've seen Rick Meyer run all day. Nothing on time. Right, Dan? Look, again here, nothing on time. Trying to scramble, and this time it finally gets him. I mean, you cannot go back in a smooth passing game and hold the ball that long, that many times, and have to run and scramble with it before you get in trouble.
Lonnie Martz made the strip on Meyer. And now with 2:03 left, the Chiefs' victory is just a little bit more assured here. Craig comes in, the Chiefs at the 11. And McNair inside the 10, driving all the way down to the 7. Another flag has been thrown in as we've reached the 2-minute warning. Face mask against the Seahawks.
This is a point in the game where Seattle knows that you're going to run.
We have a 5-yard face mask, number 29 defense, which will be half the distance to the goal. Will not be a first down. Still first down coming up, and about 2.5 yards. 2-minute warning, timeout.
The face mask penalty called on Dwayne Harper. The 2-minute warning in Kansas City. The Chiefs seem on their way to a win.
This does make it easier to tackle somebody grabbing their face mask, but it's also illegal, and that was a flagrant half the distance to the goal line.
And there is Rick Meyer. And that play really a microcosm of the '93 season for Rick Meyer. Plenty of great plays, great games, but also augmented by mistakes, interceptions, and fumbles, and many times those have been crucial and have unfortunately cost the Seahawks a chance at winning games. But Meyer has won a lot of games for the Seahawks as well this season.
Well, he made big plays in this game. He scrambles down here and gets a touchdown for him. But I think it's just like you said, Dan, too many mistakes, and I think that's one of the things Coach Flores told us, too many interceptions. But I also think that, hey, this guy has a bright future. He made a bunch of big plays today. You can see the potential there. They need to get things smoothed out so they got a good, smooth passing game where he's back, sets more in the pocket, and delivers the ball on time.
I'd like to thank our spotters up here in the booth, Bill Wilsey and Don Wilsey, our statman Swede Mall, as Todd McNair plunges into the pile, brought down by Jeff Bryant.
You got to admire Seattle. I tell you, great attitude. Watch Tom Flores fighting to the bitter end here, trying to get timeout called. With very little to gain here except pride.
Well, the Seahawks have made strides, big ones this season, and they are assured of a 5th-place schedule next season. They will finish last in the AFC West, and with that offensive line continuing to develop, they're going to be a factor. Buffalo, a final over Indianapolis 30-10. So indeed, Kansas City will not get a first-round bye, and they will host a wild card game here next weekend. Let's go back to New York.
Miami needed a win to get into the playoffs, Dan. Now here, in the closing moments, you look at Pittsburgh holding off Cleveland as D.J. Johnson knocks the pass from Vinny Testaverde away in the end zone. Steelers have done their job. Now they must hope for the Raiders to lose to get into the playoffs. Let's go back to Dan.
Thank you very much, Jim. And the Raiders will be playing the Denver Broncos coming up in the second half of our doubleheader.
That's a tough assignment to sit there now the way the Steelers are and hope somebody else does it for you. I've been there.
The light drizzle has turned into a pretty good rain here in Kansas City as McNair gets the call again. The executive producer of NBC Sports is Tom Roy. Coordinating producer of NBC's football is John Faratzis. Today's game produced by Terry Ewert. Directed by John Gilmartin. Associate Director Ray Benassi. And our production associate Harold Bryant. Thanks to the guys in the truck. Thanks to the guys up here in the booth today.
I think that was again a timeout there called by Tom Flores, fighting to the bitter end here down to the 1 yard line. And they did pick up a first down on the 1.5.
And we'll head back and hear from Jim Lampley once again. Jim?
How irrepressible are the Parcells Pats, Dan? With Miami needing a win, New England comes back down the field. Minute 14 to go as Bledsoe hits Ben Coates again. Second time today, and the Patriots lead the flickering Dolphins 27-24 with a minute 14 to go. Back to Arrowhead Stadium.
Thank you, Jim. Boy, Bill Parcells and the Patriots.
That's what I love about the NFL, the competitiveness of everybody. Those guys fighting their guts out, looking to finish the season with 5 straight wins, and nothing at stake, but fighting against Miami has everything at stake. Seattle here doing a great job and fighting to the bitter end. I think it says a lot about the league.
I think two teams to look at in the NFC next year are the Patriots and Phoenix, the Cardinals. The final over Atlanta 27-10 as McNair on third down trying to pick up a first down. It was possible for Kansas City to pick it up if it got inside the 2.
I think everybody here wants to go for it.
And he didn't quite get it. Fourth down and about a foot. What do you do?
I don't think there's any question. You're going to go for this. You're going to go for this on the ground. Pound that thing. Run the clock down here, I guess, and then talk about it. But I think Marty's got to go for this.
Under a minute. Kansas City up 27-24. Fourth down and about a foot. That's all they need for the first down. The ball is at the 2.
Well, suspense here. I know how the fans are all going to vote. I was always sitting at RFK when I got there as a young coach, and the first time it's 4th and 1, they all yelled, "Go for it." And I went, man, they want to go for it. So I go for it. Come back the next time, same thing.
Did you really listen to the fans?
Yeah, well, listen, at the end, all of a sudden we go for it once, we didn't make it, and they all go, boo. I says, oh, I see. This is what you guys are going to do. Well, from now on, I'm going to do whatever I want to do, because I know what the fans' reaction is.
How early in your career was this?
It was about 3 4th downs into my career.
Okay. Well, those of you who have been waiting for the second half of our NFL doubleheader, you're just moments away from it. The big one, of course, at the Coliseum, the Broncos and the Raiders. That's coming up next right here on NBC. Check your local listings for the game in your area. Marty Schottenheimer, chance to go 11-5.
I got to make, Albert Lewis says you make sure you say something to my folks back in Louisiana, so Happy New Year to them for him letting us use the plate that was in his arm, which was something I'd never seen before. It was certainly interesting to me.
Fourth down, and McNair has the first down, and he's got more than that. He's got a touchdown. McNair's second touchdown of the game and of the season.
Marty Schottenheimer makes the right call. He pulls Joe Montana. Like we talked about at the start of the show, as we see the replay, and a good job of blocking up front, a good job of running. But Marty Schottenheimer makes the right call, I think. Pulls Montana. They go ahead and finish it off with Craig. He gets everything he wants out of this. He's got to be a pleased guy right now.
Not only does he pull Joe Montana, we haven't seen Marcus Allen in there either.
I think Marcus may have got a little bit of a...
He did walk off the field earlier in the game.
Yeah, early in the game.
Feeling his wrist, but Marty Schottenheimer used the word prudent with us yesterday as we discussed this game. Prudent meaning he'll be prudent with his two veterans, Joe Montana and Marcus Allen, who have been instrumental in getting the Chiefs to what will be an 11-5 regular season mark as Nick Lowry tacks on the extra point to put the Chiefs up by 10.
Off the embarrassing 10-6. I'm not so sure. I was going to tell Marty, 10-6 is only embarrassing if you're sitting at 10-6.
Yeah, he looked at us and said, 10-6 is not good. Don't like that at all.
It's only good if you're sitting there at about 8-5.
Well, look at the Lions. They are the NFC Central champions with the victory over Green Bay. We just showed you the highlight of the Patriots taking a 27-24 lead.
You can see the importance of home field right here on the screen.
What do you think? Who's the best in the AFC? Buffalo clinches the home field. Can the Bills get back in it? Fourth straight year, go all the way?
I think you got to look strongly at Houston too. Even though I'm not going to bet on the run and shoot outdoors, this is their chance. I think they've got to seize the opportunity. The tough thing here for Kansas City now, they're going to have to make a long run. I was never able to do it, Dan, in coaching any way but home field and playing at home. 4 times we get to the Super Bowl. All 4 times we were home field advantage, played everything at home, and that's the way to get there for us. We weren't able to do it any other way. Somebody always knocked us off.
So you think that Kansas City does have the firepower to make it all the way, but the fact that the road will go through Houston and or Buffalo to get there is maybe a little bit too much for them to overcome?
I think it's going to be tough. They're going to be an uphill battle. They got the tools. They got the right guy here, Joe Montana, to lead them. That was their goal earlier in the year. Bring in a guy. We've had a tough time in the playoffs, so how do you overcome that? Well, go out and get the best guy in the world in the playoffs. And his buddy, Marcus Allen, and make a run at it. I think it was smart on their part. I just think they got a tough job playing on the road.
Well, Nick Lowry's kickoff, just a line drive. Seahawks return it to the 40-yard line. That was Rod Stevens on the return for Seattle. Joe Montana, is he the missing link to Kansas City's Super Bowl aspirations? The numbers on Joe today. We'll find out.
Those are excellent numbers. An excellent day for him. I think he's ready. I think he's poised, he's sharp, he's ready to go.
8-3 as a starter in the regular season. And it appeared that Ray Roberts, the big left tackle for Seattle, moved prematurely.
False start. Number 73 offense. Moving prior to the snap. 5 yards. Still first down.
And it was Ray Roberts in his second year out of Virginia.
We're talking about the whole town. As you look at Joe Montana and you're talking about the whole town of Kansas City, you could just feel the excitement when we came in here, Dan. We got to spend New Year's. I got to spend it with Dan instead of with my family.
You should have seen Joe Gibbs dancing on that piano in the hotel lobby. It was unbelievable.
Don't tell Pat that. She may believe you. But we spent it with Terry Ewert and all of our buddies sitting around the table. But anyway,
Terry Ewert was the instigator of the impromptu New Year's Eve party bash.
He did pick up the tab, though.
Yes, he did.
But anyway,
that's why he was invited.
The excitement in this town, you can feel it. Everybody's wearing Kansas City Chiefs jackets and paraphernalia. I mean, they're all excited about what's going on. That's one of the exciting things about being a coach. Marty Schottenheimer is right on that. Seeing the town get excited.
Rick Myers' pass complete to Paul Green. Paul Green wrestled down at the 45. Clock continuing to run. 22 seconds left. This final just in from the Meadowlands, and the Dallas Cowboys have pulled it off. 16-13 winners over the New York Giants. Huge win for Dallas.
Home field all the way throughout.
Home field throughout. And Myers' last pass, maybe of of the '93 season, but there's 1 second left as he was looking for Kelvin Martin.
Fans were counting it down.
We mentioned the fumble by Rick Meyer, which put an end pretty much to Seattle's chances here.
Larry Kennan saying, put it up, Rick. We're going to get to test his arm strength right here. Watch this. He'll go for the end zone.
He's had 13 fumbles and has lost 6 of those, so Rick Meyer will have one last chance. Lofting it up down the far sideline. And coming up, well, actually, it was Bruce Pickens who thought he had an interception, but that is the final play of the game. Joe Montana and the Kansas City Chiefs up 34-24. They win it. Coming up next on most of these NBC stations, Game 2 of the NFL doubleheader today. Most of you will see the Broncos take on the Raiders. Some will see the Bengals and Saints, or the Chargers and the Bucks. So for Joe Gibbs, I'm Dan Hicks saying so long from Kansas City.